Wow. Well, I don't even know how this is supposed to go. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Plus One Shoots the Shit. I am Charles, and here today I have James with me. We're going to talk about the MCDM RPG. James is ready. You can tell from the books in his background. Does your study smell like mahogany or no?
Oh, mahogany.
But what we're going to do, the playtest came out. We've been following it for a while, and we just want to talk through it. Yeah, just a little bit. You know, I think I've only been following MCDM since the first video, maybe the second one.
I just, if we want to give a little background on our MCD image, for me, I think that the first time when I found MCDM, it was because I was out of Critical Role content, so I started watching a lot of their interviews that they did at cons. And at one of the interviews, Matt Mercer, when asked, hey, how do I get into DMing? He said, watch Running the Game by Matt Colville, a good friend of mine. And I was like, that sounds like a great idea. And then I didn't stop. That was about I want to say it was like a year into him doing it, because I got in at the end of his Fighter for Every Level thing that he did, or Fighter for Every One, or every version.
Yeah, I think I was only a little bit before that, because I've never watched Critical Role. It's a failing, I guess, of mine. No. I can't watch people play D&D. I can't do it. I can't listen to it. I don't know. That's like, it would have to be the only thing I do. I just can't do it. It's like watching a video on a side screen. I can't do that either.
That's like the Pagliacci the clown joke, man.
Maybe it's just I get distracted because I start thinking about things that I want to do, and then I'm not watching it. Just like I don't watch people play Twitch.
So for me, it's background noise, which is basically how it works. And then by the time I realize that I'm done with a project or I've been doing something, I'm like, oh, I absorbed that whole episode somehow. Oh. So
yeah, my brain just doesn't absorb it unless I'm focusing on it. But yeah, I think it was a little bit before then, but not much before then.
But so, I mean, it's been very funny because we watched, which one was it? It was Strongholds and Followers, I think was the first one, right? And Strongholds and Followers came out from MCDM. Before, were they even MCDM yet? Was that the first thing they did?
I think it was the first thing they did, yeah.
Because I think so. He did a bunch of like small releases of like classes and the Illrigger and things like that.
The Illrigger and Beastheart.
It all gets blurred, but those I think are all MCDM products. I think there was a Drive-Thru RPG or something. Either way, MCDM has made a game system, or they've made, and we should stress this, a playtest for a system.
Yes.
This is
it's nowhere near done.
A playtest. Illrigger was pre-MCDM. I thought so. I think that was his whole paladin of every alignment thing he was talking about. He made the Illrigger for like a home game, essentially, and then published it because he thought people would be interested.
And people were.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've never played with it.
So, yeah. Let's see. So
they're working on this, and the Kickstarter is happening right now. I don't know, whenever you listen to this, it may not be going. But currently, it's got about 50-something hours left, I think, and it's I think of the couple 100,000 that they asked for, I want to say I'll go to it and see what they asked for, also to see what they're at now. So they asked for $800,000 for this Kickstarter, which is a bit for an RPG. Let's not lie. It's quite a bit.
It is, but also it's a company to make it, and so
yes,
it is
and
to
then
be able to divert their funds to do just that. From the other things they do, the supplement releases and the books that they make, Flea Mortals and Strongholds and Followers, Kingdoms and Warfare, all the other things that they've come out with. Arcadia, such a good run.
That magazine. I hope that they bring it back, but more MCDM RPG flavored. Also, we should note there is no name for this yet, so we will be calling it the MCDM RPG, but that's okay because everyone has, because there's no name.
The joke's on them. That is the name. They don't know it yet. Some people might not know it yet. We know it. That's going to end up being the name of it because they have a really sick logo and it's going to look real nice on the cover.
Oh, yeah. We got Flea Mortals. We got some other stuff. I am partial to something that they say all the time, which is draw steel. I'd love for that to be the name. Just Draw Steel. I don't think that it's possible. It's evocative, but I don't think for a whole system, right?
They could make it one of the two books, like the combat book could be Draw Steel, and the
could be
the character / compendium could be something else.
Let's hope that there are a lot of splat books like 3.5.
Oh but, man,
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I was listening to some other stuff, and I was listening to another one of the podcasts that was talking about MCDM. I found a podcast recently. I'll have to tell you about them. I don't know if I want to name drop them here necessarily, but it basically
not enough research.
Well, they're called Knights of the Last Call, but basically they've been my brain for the last 3 months as I've been going through things. I've been like fever dream like contacting them or something, because they've recently played Root, did a thing on Fabula Ultima, done the MCDM stuff, and it's like every time I'm looking for something that it's like I'm really interested in this system right now, I type it in and Knights of the Last Calls keeps popping up, and I'm like and recently too interesting
Kindred Spirit,
perfect,
or a Hive Mind, one of the two.
I don't know, but either way, it's been very helpful. They were talking about like 4th ed, and then there was apparently a Mike Merles made battle compendium that was an alt player's handbook for like fighting classes and other things that are very evocative and very speak to the system.
I remember.
I'm stalling us. We need to get into this.
Oh, it's all good. So they asked for $800,000 a number of days ago. I don't know how many. However, it's ending now in 53 hours, and they are at currently $3,995,836. It just went up. Dollars. It's about to hit $4 million, which is astonishing.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. We're going to talk about the RPG, so let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter. There's a lot of stuff that you can go through. They've done Q&As. Right, we are one of the ways you can learn more about it.
We both recommend backing it. By the way, I'm a backer.
Oh, sure,
Charles is also a backer of this. It's very nice to be a backer and also a patron, because you're getting to see a lot of background. It's just good understanding of how games are made.
Yeah, and if you want to see all the stuff that they thought failed, become a patron for like $1. I think you can still get some of it. I don't even remember.
Yeah,
but either way, we're here to talk about what we got, which was the playtest. So as patrons, you get a playtest packet, and it goes over what this RPG is and is not. One, it's not 5th edition. I don't know if anybody knew that. It's not 5th edition. It's not for 5th edition. It's a whole nother thing. Equivalent to like a Paizo, a 7th age. Man, I don't even want to say that. That's some bad juju.
Wait, 13th age or 7th C? You're saying 13, two things and you're combining them into some terrifying beast.
Oh, man. They both didn't end up doing that well.
I heard about what an impact die was, or I think it's not the impact die, the tension die or whatever it is for 13th age. That was an interesting sounding system.
Yeah.
Been doing a lot of research.
Well, there's so many games to start playing in this next year on this channel, probably.
Which is probably why we're going to start doing a lot of these games we want to play. The MCDM is the first one that we're doing in this like series of Shoot the Shits, but this will not be the last one.
We'll have to come up with a good name for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Shoot
workshop
this
that.
shit.
But
no, don't. No.
Don't do it. Well, thankfully, MCDM was smart enough, I'll say it, smart enough to give us kind of an overview of what they want the system to be like, but just in some evocative words and some explanation. So these are the keywords that they've been using for forever, right? If you're a patron, you know of these. They want it to be a tactical, heroic, cinematic, fantasy, tabletop RPG. Those are the four, and tactical, heroic, cinematic, fantasy, they're words that we use all the time, but what do they mean about it? Specifically when it comes to RPGs. Tactical, it's on a grid, right? Because tactics matter. Not just overarching strategy, but tactics round to round. I'm going
to do this a lot tonight, and I just want to say, from what I've been picking up, a lot of people are relating this to fourth ed, and that is not necessarily grokked by the folks who are making this game. And I don't think it's because they don't like the comparison. I think it's because they don't want the expectation of this system to be another system that already exists, because it is still a playtest, and everything that they're working on could completely change by the time this game actually comes out in 2 years.
Yeah.
Worth noting that they've said that I think the release for this is late, like third quarter 2025. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so. I'd have to double check, but I believe so.
With the understanding being that people hopefully will have already been playing something similar to what the game is going to turn out to be for about a year when the book finally comes out.
Right.
That was what they established as their goal. But so it reminds me of 4th edition, where you had squares and you had to have a map, and you had to have it was an understanding that if you weren't playing on a grid, you weren't necessarily playing the game to the way it was designed.
Right. And there are some people who really love theater of the mind and love that kind of more Imaginarium type of style. I don't know how to say it any better than that. I am not one of them, so I can't even speak to me. I really don't. Well, it couldn't be me. I really like grid-based. It adds that tactical flavor in between. We've played on this very channel, Powered by the Apocalypse game, Teams with Attitude.
Yeah. Gosh, somebody really cool must have run that.
I'm not giving you the what am I trying to say? I'm not giving you your flowers, my friend.
That's fair.
Well, you got to be a producer, then you'll get to be a director in this one.
Oh, yeah, right?
Some point. Yeah, we'll talk about the words that they use. But grid-based positioning matters, and teamwork matters are the 3 things that you can get from the tactical word that they have in this playtest, in fact. And to me, that's my type of game, right? I'm not against those without grids, but it just makes it a little bit harder for those who are not on top of everything to know what's going on.
And again, this game does a really good job, as we're talking about this, of saying, it does a whole big thing of saying, what is this game? And then it says, what isn't this game, for the first 7 paragraphs. And I mean, some people could see that as overwrought, but at the same time, it's very much, not only does it name drop a bunch of cool games like Shadow Dark, Forbidden Lands, Call of Cthulhu. It's like, here's a bunch of games if you want to play something else. This is not the game for everyone. This is the game for tactical, heroic, cinematic fantasy. And they've given a bunch of descriptors. Tactical is, there is a grid, there will be positioning that matters, and you will have to plan out your turns. Yeah.
And when we talk about initiative, that will be very apparent. I love this initiative system. But the next word is heroic. Go ahead.
No, please, by all means. We have so much to talk about.
Oh, God, yeah. So it auto-corrected to green, but that's good, too. Characters aren't... What does heroic mean to them? Characters aren't primarily motivated by green. That's a typo. That should be greed. But we're not all murder hobos trying to steal from each other. We are heroes. We're doing this for the greater good or renown or something, but it's not anything as rote as money.
Right.
It's a weird thing to say. Kind of. To me, that's kind of weird. That goes without saying to me, but it doesn't for a lot of people.
Well, and I think that's important. Like, there's another abstraction layer when you say heroic. And that's what I think is it takes like a bunch of the mundane stuff that can occur in a fantasy setting. Re 80% of Lord of the Rings. And it pulls out the other 20% of all the battles and the sieges and all of the amazing explorative explanations and looking at Isengard for the first time and all of that sort of thing is like, this is what we're here for. That other 80% is fine in a book. Yeah. So it pulls away from like inventory management. Specifically, I think is one of the things they mention is not really a big thing here.
Yeah, less emphasis on record keeping is also in their heroic section because they don't, who cares, as they say, how many bullets Indiana Jones has in his gun. Doesn't matter. He can shoot it when he needs to. He reloads when he needs to. It's fine. We're not going to track ammunition. We're not going to track food. We're not going to track number of torches and blah, blah, blah. It's okay. Those are things that happen. You're an adventurer. You're ready for that. You're a hero.
Yeah, exactly.
And some people would say that's against the whole tactical grid-based thing, but I don't agree.
I don't agree either, because if you think about it, like the way that tactical games work, it's not about the micromanaging of it. It's about the play. Like there is two different components to most tactical video games that you play, and the inventory management is one of the sides of it. But
it's a big genre right now too.
You mean, yeah, Baldur's Gate 3 is a big old inventory game, isn't it?
Backpack Hero.
Oh, Backpack Hero. Oh, yeah, that's right. They do have a lot
There's a lot of these now.
Dredge, I think, is an inventory management game.
Yeah, I would count it as.
But exploration and inventory. I was watching from the live stream that I was watching. BXE style D&D is one of the things that the person Derek was talking about. And what he was saying was, one of the things that is lost on today is the fact that something that Matt Colville said a lot is that old D&D used to be you only get experience points for the gold value that you bring home.
Yep.
What that means is, while we look at Tensor's floating disk today and say, what the hell is this garbage spell? Back in the day, that was your lifeblood. That was the yes. JP up skill in Final Fantasy Tactics is, I'm going to walk in with this disc. I'm going to walk out with like 10k more loot than I would have otherwise. That's a level.
Would you say that they had big disc energy?
They did, in fact, have big disc energy. Oh.
Good. Yeah, well, let's not bring that back, because I don't want to think about how heavy things are.
Yeah.
Right, I just don't care. I don't care. It's fine. The next word is cinematic, and the most nebulous of all the words.
That is certainly the one that I've heard everybody get caught up on.
Sure. Right. And the part that I pulled out of their explanation, because it's long and it's good, was a focus on powers and abilities with a strong visual component. So not getting lost in the weeds of, here's my army, there's your army, there's an attack. That's all we care about. It's not wargaming. Wargaming to me is kind of anti-cinematic in that way, at least from what I've seen. So this is more of a bombastic, this is for the director to really show off and explain how these things are happening. It already has a strong visual component, and they work well together, and you could just see it in your mind's eye.
Right.
That's what I think. And you could say, yeah, well, most games are cinematic, are they not? I mean, there are some that are more clinical. Yeah, there's some that are a lot more clinical. I mean, you think about AD&D. That's not very cinematic.
No, and in fact, if you're doing something bombastic in AD&D, a lot of times you're doing it wrong. You're supposed to be as risk averse as possible.
Yes, exactly. So cinematic kind of goes hand in hand with heroic. Some people might think it's against tactical, but I think that a lot of cinematic moments are very tactical. That's when the hero does the thing that you're like, oh my goodness, how did they ever think of that?
Yeah, exactly. Or like, especially to go back to the keyword tactical that you were saying, where teamwork matters. Like, there's nothing more cinematic than watching a team up beatdown. Like, I will watch those compilations any day of the week. Watching that one episode of Jujutsu Kaisen where the one curse just gets the shit kicked out of him by both of them just going whole hog on him. It's great. It's good times. Perfect cinema. Yeah.
The last word, it's probably the easiest word.
Yeah.
Fantasy. Literally, it says, with dragons and stuff. It is a particular style of fantasy, and they say this as well.
Yeah.
The first book is based in Vasloria, which is their name for their setting. This is one of their few settings that they're going to have in this kind of whole world that they're calling. I wish I could do it like he does, but I can't. It's the timescape. Anyway, it's just the multiverse.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, a lot of people don't even know that D&D has a multiverse, right? Like, that's a thing that kind of falls off. It's a little bit back in Baldur's Gate because they really focused on going to planes and the Illithids and spoilers that I won't get in. But this is going to be set in kind of a very medieval European fantasy-like place. However, they also have other settings that they want to do in the future. They want people to be able to find their fantasy there. And if that's not your fantasy, then I don't know. Maybe wait for the next books. But this is distinctly a medieval European fantasy type game. Think knights and orders and adventurers and taverns and, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And they've been very Myler, the favorite word. Yes, we realize your bias, Myler, in chat. But yeah, no, magic, swords,
yeah,
you know, armor, wearing all the things. But again, you know, it's fantasy, but it's heroic. So none of the I've been looking through my Pendragon starter set and seeing the absolute in Dad's coat that it looks like to actually wear real chainmail in the art in that, which it's nice to see. But that's not the Warhammer fantasy style of here's the armor that's perfectly sculpted and you have the abs where the abs on the person would be, and it you know.
They made it just yesterday for you.
Yeah, exactly. It's perfect and flawless, and you can move completely fine in it. Don't worry about your shoulders or nothing.
It's fine. The pauldrons are great. Yeah. You know, we're just in WoW.
Maybe you get a midriff, you know, show off the actual abs. It's cool. But no.
If we talk about 4th edition and WoW, all the tabletop people are going to leave. Every last one of you is going to be gone.
Pauldrons are great. Make them bigger.
Bigger. So that's kind of what it is and what it isn't.
It's what it says it is, and we should definitely try to speak to it as we're talking about this, because that's the main thing. Is what they did was they came in very agilely. They were like, we need to define what our statements are for this setup, and then they went through, for anybody who's done agile, I'm sorry, and they've culled all the things that they feel do not fit those words, except for maybe one. We'll get there.
Sure.
Rhymes with negotiation.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I'm a fan. Well, just, you know.
Yeah, so am I. And we'll get there. There's a whole system for it. So
there is.
How does the system work? Is it D20 fantasy?
Gosh, that'd be a lot like 4th edition if it were D20 or something similar. It
Yeah, it wouldn't. Well, it's not.
No.
It's very close to Powered by the Apocalypse.
You know, 2D6 has a real nice bella curve.
It does.
And it
really
makes for consistency with outliers that are fun.
Right.
And that's nice sometimes.
Right, exactly. The core die is a D6. More accurately, you're going to be rolling 2D6 a whole lot. That's your attack, resistance rolls, saving throw, tests, skills, you know, that sort of stuff.
I've never heard of any of these things before in another game.
No, never, nope. Totally original, do not steal. Initiative is 1d6, which I will promptly forget. I'm just going to tell you right now.
Man, if there's one thing that I've ever learned from running Teens with Attitude for everyone, it is that a 2d6 dice system should be real simple until you give one other kind of roll to it, and then no one fucking knows what's going on. So is my damage 2d6? No, your damage is 1d4 or 1d6.
Yep. For a long while, I think they had been trying to do d10s for initiative in D&D. I've never noticed or done that.
No. I mean,
I've heard that so many times.
I guess. I mean, it makes sense because the initiative modifier is so low to the ground in the game that it doesn't really matter what die you roll with it.
Right. It's just it's that outlier, like you were saying, that I always forget. But initiative's very different in this game. We'll talk about it. You're not likely to forget that.
Yeah.
So you have your D6s, plural. You then can have other die added onto rolls. So we've got the boon die. So basically, if you have some advantage on any of those rolls, attacks, resistances, tests, the director says, hey, have an extra D4. You roll that as well. It's just blessed. It's just blessed. The lowest level of blessed. But it's cool that we've extracted, just like D&D 5th did, an advantage to something easy to remember. Instead of rolling twice, here you just roll a D4. Yeah. In addition to everything else. It's cool.
love this. I loved it in Lancer, and I love it here even more because a bonus die in a 2d6 system is so much more meaningful than in a d20 system, which is where you see it in Lancer, where you have advantages and disadvantages, I believe is what they're called, and you stack them all together, however many you have, and then you roll whatever number you have on either side, and you take the highest.
Yeah.
This is only a 1-die system as far... No, it's not. It's the other thing about this system, though, and this is the thing that throws me as I read through this, is you can have multiple boon dice.
Yeah.
And they stack. Which I think kind of turns the math a little crazy.
It becomes a bit crunchy when you have to really think about all of that. You know, this wasn't really marketed as anti-crunch. You would never think that. If you know MCDM, there is enjoyable crunch, and that's really what they're trying to do. So yeah, a boon die. Just imagine if you were an archer, and you're in a tree, and they don't see you, and I don't know, they have fairy fire, right? You've got two
whatever
boons,
the equivalent is of magic.
Whatever that might be.
We don't know yet. There are no magic casters or magic spells.
Yeah, we don't have them yet in the playtest.
Yeah.
So you would get 2 boon dice. You would roll your normal, which is probably going to be a 2d6 plus something, like one of your characteristics, which we'll talk about.
Yep.
Then add 2d4. Yep. Okay, because I've got boon.
Yeah. That's going to be crazy.
Yes, it's going to be litigated a lot.
Yeah, are you able to gain more than 2 boons? Arguably, is there any cap on them? I don't think there is.
I don't believe so.
No.
I do not believe there is, but maybe. Maybe there is. I remember seeing there's some gotchas in here, as there will be with every system. It
doesn't say it under the boon die itself. It says specifically that you roll each one and add the results together, and it does not say that there is an upper bound for it. So worth thinking about going forward. Something that I'd be very interested to see is how well that shakes out, given the fact that the dice it's so much lower to the ground because it's 2d6 on top of having modifiers that start at up to +3, which for Powered by the Apocalypse is ridiculously strong.
A lot.
A +3 is something that I think you guys don't even see in Teens with Attitude. You get a +2 at max.
2
and that's
is maximum,
transformed, I think.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like a +3 is supposed to be like end gamey Powered by the Apocalypse. Once you get there, you're there.
Yeah.
So it really speaks to how the math is going to work out in this game.
Right. Because just like there is a boon die, which is a d4, there's also a bane die, which is a d4. So if you're in, let's say, low visibility and it's raining or whatever, you may have a bane to add instead of a boon, or in addition to a boon.
Yeah.
There could be multiple, right? So this is where we get to kind of a little bit more numbers you have to think about, but shouldn't be too bad, I don't think. The only other use for a d4 that they have said is for like low-level trap damage, like a little, bear trap hits you for a d4.
I'm sure that there's at least 1 or 2. Oh no, there's another use for the d4. I remember it now because I remember reading through the sheets. Your not an opportunity attack. It's a strike. It's
I can tell you. I'm not gonna.
Caltrops. No, that's just
a chance hit.
A chance hit. Your chance hit is a d4, not a d6.
Yep. Yeah, which is an attack of opportunity in other parlance. We'll get to there. Yeah. But yeah, that is a d4. And then like some resource rolls, like some classes might roll a d4 to recover some resources, but it is not a boon, it's not a bane, it is just a d4 that you add. And the last type of die that you have to think about is the impact die that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Now, a while ago, if you're a patron, you know that this was way more used. All over the place. This was kind of what boons were. Not exactly, but this has been changed now, and it's only conditionally added to rolls. Some characters, some classes will get it eventually. I believe the Shadow, the Rogue, gets added to sneak attack, which is pretty nice.
Okay.
Yeah, like the number for a Shadow's assassinate, is a lot. It's like 2d6, 2d8 plus something. It's It's wild.
2d6 plus 2d8 plus 5 on the character sheet with agility 3. So
level,
however that
works. A level 1. Yeah,
a level 1 character. Man, that is still crazy to me. We'll get there.
Yeah. So, what are the stats, right?
Oh,
your character we were just talking about.
Before we go into that, I do want to mention, because I don't know if we're going to cover it during skills, but for your skills in this game, you get boon dice rather than getting a skill score.
Right.
But when you hit level 5, all of your skills upgrade into impact dice.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
you get
like
a better
late
number.
game expertise.
Yeah, it's late game expertise. It's kind of a built-in cantrip scale / what am I trying to say here? Proficiency.
Yeah.
Right. It grows with you because it should.
Yeah, exactly.
But what are your abilities? What are the characteristics? What is my strength? I'm not going to do the rest of it.
Well,
the rest of them.
Surely it's strength, dexterity, constitution, wisdom, intelligence, and charisma, right?
Yes, but no.
Oh.
But yes. We have might. How easily you could crush a tomato. I'm sorry, I'm not going to use the whole tomato thing. Agility is how easily you could throw or dodge a tomato. Endurance is how many tomatoes you could eat in one sitting. Then we get to the mental characteristics. We have your reason.
Yeah.
Your reason is knowing that tomato is a fruit. It's your book knowledge. It's your power of thought. Intuition is knowing that tomato would taste horrible in this fruit salad. Even though it's a fruit, I'm not doing that.
And presence is how well you can, with the tomato and...
The aristocrats. And presence is how easily it would be for you to sell to someone else, to some unsuspecting rube, that tomato-based fruit salad.
Fair enough. I don't think they add much to it, but what I do think they do is they help to make you better understand what these stats actually do for you, because intelligence, wisdom, and charisma are 3 things that... Charisma especially is one of those ones that I feel is horribly misnamed for the game we play called 5th edition D&D. It's like, so I'm charming them with a fireball?
Yes.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Sure.
And they like me so much that their spell misses me as a paladin. Okay, got it.
Mm-hmm. You're just so beautiful.
Yeah.
So righteous.
And with all bard with the bard it makes sense, but...
Oh, sure, yeah, that does make sense. Here it would be presence, which also makes sense as a word. But yes, they're the same 6 abilities that we're used to, because it's very easy to abstract a person into numbers this way.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have said it that way. But that's what we're doing.
This is what we do when we play games. We turn people into little code.
At least it's more than 1 number. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot of... I don't know how I feel about, and this might only be because I've been reading Fabula Ultima, but I don't know how I feel about this being a 6 skill system rather than a 4.
Right. Do you even need that many?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be interested to see how they resolve it and what they find by the end of it all. Because something that was interesting for people who don't know earlier on in the playtest, the dice for this system used to be crazy. We're talking like Fantasy Flight, Star Wars / Lord of the Rings crazy.
Different symbol.
Where they did all these symbols and all these neat things. They had hits with impact and things like that. And they had the cosmic die. And then finally, when it boiled down to all of it, they did a video of it. And Matt you could tell he had to hold back a tear in his eye. He was like, and it turned out it was just a bell curve, like 2d6. And when James brought this to me, I sighed. He maybe cried a little. And then he said, all right, 2d6 it.
Fair.
Get rid of all these goofy dice we wanted.
Yeah.
Because as you know, the specialty fun dice are super cool, but also super gatekeeping for a system. Just look at Fantasy Flight Star Wars or not Lord of the Rings, Legend of the 5 Rings. All of those games that people go to and they look at those dice. And I've been playing an on and off Edge of the Empire game with my friend Mar and another friend. You know Marlo. He still cannot understand what the dice do when he rolls in that game. It's nothing against him. It is just, okay, so you have two separate dice pools. You shake them all up and you roll them together, and then you subtract them from each other, and that's how you get what you did.
You know, we have the stereotype as tabletop gamers of like some weird occult group, and when we have to consult the bones in that way, it looks like we do. We have to literally augur the bones because there's multiple symbols on them. Like, what does it mean? I don't know.
And then when somebody asks, we turn around like that kid from the Polar Express meme, and we just start talking.
Well, you see, all these are my Jedi points, and this is my dark side.
That's my light dark side dice. If I roll that, I can always use the value, but sometimes it's not good.
Like, I'm not here to yuck anyone's yum, but fucking yuck. Yeah. I don't want it.
And also, I mean, this game is made to be understandable. Or at least that is one of the tenets that they wanted to go into, is game systems that are intuitive. And we'll get into a few of the things that are absolutely more intuitive than other games. But
other games,
that dice system sounded like it was fun for someone like me and you, but certainly not intuitive for people who aren't crazy like we are.
There's only a little bit of it left in one of the classes, the Conduit, and I love the way that it's in there, and we'll talk about it.
Okay.
So you have all your might, agility. I gotta not say the 6 from the other game.
Yeah.
You have health.
You do.
I don't know. Is that surprising? It shouldn't be. What happens when you hit 0? Do you die?
Oh, yeah. You just fall over unconscious, right? And you're out of the fight, and you don't get to play anymore. Unless someone casts Healing Word on you, then you have 2 HP, and you count as though you have full health.
Yeah. Unless there's a bard who's like, God damn it, every bonus action has to be a healing word. All right, fine. Sure. Okay. No problem. Not speaking from experience, no.
No, of course not. That would be silly.
So let's back up a little bit before you hit 0.
Yeah.
And yes, people who know 4th edition, just be ready.
Any edition at this point.
Yeah.
Everybody, the one thing that has been universally adopted from 4th Ed is bloodied.
It's so good. It's just great.
It's good. It's good design for you to understand, okay, you've reached the halfway point on this enemy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It lets you do the math in your head. It makes you feel smart. It makes you feel successful because you've hit it down past its first health bar, and now it's on the second health bar.
Yep.
There might be more health bars after that, but he's going to fall down first, and then he gets back up. You see 3 more health bars. You're in trouble.
Yeah, it's not glowing red yet.
No, yeah.
Or steaming.
Yeah,
exactly. In the normal video game parlance. So yes, you can be bloodied at half health. So can every other creature. You know, enemies, things like that. This can trigger abilities. We don't see any on the hero side right now, but it can. So things can happen to
there
bloodied
is
creatures.
Certainly a fury feature or 5 that triggers off of bloodied.
Without
there
a doubt.
Always is.
Without a doubt. There has to be. There's one that triggers off the next thing. So what happens when you hit 0? Are you unconscious? No.
You are insane, is what you are in this system. So you hit 0 and you become unbalanced. I can handle this one.
Yeah,
you can no longer take the recover action, so you cannot heal your own hit points with the basic action. But it doesn't say that you can't use other recovery skills.
Yeah.
So someone who's a conduit, I have questions.
Right. I would guess that they can heal you. I would guess.
But I would wonder if they can heal themselves. I forget whether or not their heals can target themselves.
I think it says another creature, but that's a good thing to think about.
And that could just be elegant design. But either way,
it could be.
So that is certainly something to look at for this game. And then once you hit 0 health, you're unbalanced. You can't take a recovery action anymore, but you still get to fight. And the best part about it is when you fight, you lose 5 health every time. But if you hit your bloodied value in the negative,
that's it.
Like 4th Ed, oops, dead.
Dead. No saving throws, no nothing. You hit negative your bloodied value, that's it.
Yep.
Game over.
You're just over. And just for because the health because the math always matters to me. If we're looking at, let's look at someone with a low HP amount. We have like a Wood Elf, Shadow.
Yeah.
I'm pulled up over here on the thing. The health at level 1 after their kit's applied and everything, 40. You have 40 health total, which means 4 actions until you fall flat and die. Also, while you're unbalanced, enemies can still hit you.
Yeah.
You are still in the fight.
And we haven't talked about dice rolls yet, but you're going to get hit.
Yeah. Oh man, this game, as far as I can tell, it has your resources in mind, and it certainly wants you to have them in mind too. Yeah.
Very much about the attrition. So you will die if you hit your bloodied value in the negatives. So that's cool. Now we know. We know our abilities. We know how we can die and all that. So what's my sword? What's my armor? How do I stop from dying? What are these things? So I'm going to level with you. Here's a part that is the least understandable about this game, only because we don't have character creation, and we have examples of kits, and we have a couple people who have them, but kits are their abstraction of equipment.
Yep. It is a template that you lay over top your character sheet, and it adds modifiers to it, which I'm always a big fan of templates, because it makes the game more understandable, and it makes you more able to, as a person running the game, not predict your players, but certainly have a better... It's always hard to run a game where your characters have like 20 things in their inventory. And it's hard to play a game as a character sometimes with 20 things in your inventory if you're not the kind of person who likes to manage that sort of thing. So for it to be like, you have this kit, there are... Let's say by the end of this, each character class has about, I'm going to say 3 unique and like 5 generic kits that they can choose from. But even then, I think they said that the kits were supposed to be free for all.
Yes.
They wanted them to be.
You can pick, let's say, a caster-like one on your tactician, theoretically, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
It would limit what you do, but it would change the flavor of your tactician, and it would give you other things.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of throwing things in the system. So.
So, how do kits work? All right. So a kit consists of things that you're used to in other games, like armor and weapons. It also gives you a special ability. Let's get into it. Armor.
Do we have kits on the main rule set, or is that in another?
No. I can see you the link.
Okay, I have my playtest stuff up. I just need to open it.
Oh, it was in the Patreon, I think. So I could send.
Oh, I have those too. No worries. Hold on.
Okay, cool. No problem.
Kits. Oh gosh, that is. I'm not going to be able to display that on the screen because it's
a big page.
It's a PNG that I have.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So a kit consists of what type of armor you have and what type of weapon you have. What does armor do? Well, in this game, as we'll talk about when we get into attack.
This makes me giddy, by the way.
Yeah. There's no such thing as a 2-hit roll. There's no such thing. You roll your damage and it happens to the creature. Now, they can mitigate it in many ways, but you roll your damage and that damage is applied. Almost, bar none. Now, there's reactions and other things and blah, blah, blah. So what does armor do in this system? Now, I remember as a patron, reading through all of their fun with the armor. And at some point, they just went, it's just more health, isn't it?
It does.
Just fucking more.
It does Final Fantasy Tactics is what it does.
Yeah.
God bless.
It's just more health.
Love it.
That's all.
10 out of 10. One of the best abstractions I saw when I was a kid was putting on more armor and then realizing finally, after playing Final Fantasy Tactics for roughly 10 hours, I think, that I did not, in fact, have a 2-hit or I had a dodge value, but armor didn't increase a defense stat. I didn't have one. I had health, and the bigger the armor was, the bigger my health was. And I was like, that makes a lot of sense and makes a lot easier programming.
Exactly.
You no longer have weird percentiles. You just have this much more HP.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about, okay, what's the 2-hit for this one? Okay, and then this. It's just what it is. You do your damage. Now, I've seen a lot of talk about this because it kind of does remove that pillar that we're used to.
Yeah.
But from other games, I'm used to health and soak. There's no soak, theoretically, here, but there are ways to get soak.
Which is strange because I think originally there was a soak sort of thing applied into the system. But, you know, this I'm interested to see this more, especially considering how recoveries work.
Yeah. So your armor, whether it be light, medium, or heavy, gets subtracted to just health, and you pick what that armor is. If you want light armor that looks like, drow chainmail, you got it. That's fine. That's what your armor looks like. Your light armor, right? If you want heavy armor that looks like you're a giant freaking immovable tank, well, that's your armor. It just gives you the health that the category would give you.
But also worth pointing out the fact that what this means is you have like the difference between the Woad Elf Shadow and the Dwarf Tactician at level 1 is the Dwarf Tactician rolls up with 20 more health.
Yep.
In case you were worried that you were going to fall down fast, you're probably not.
Yeah. 20 more health, which affects your bloodied value. Your kit changes things about yourself.
Yeah, 20 health is technically effectively 30 more.
Yeah. Yep. It's true. If we get into effective health and things like that, yeah.
And we will.
Oh yes, people will, and per turn damage, and we'll go through it all. But your armor is basically what type of armor it is, and then you get to figure it out, and it has health. Well, I already hear some people thinking, then what does a weapon do? It's just damage. It's plus damage. It's plus damage. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So for an example, just to go through real quick, a wizard kit, right? It says your equipment is you protect yourself with magic wards and you wield a staff. So this is not even light armor. It's literally just magic, right? Which is very cool and thematic, and you can be talismans, you can be a force field, whatever you think it might be. And you wield a staff. So the staff gives you +2 damage with magic and psionic attacks. You also get a bonus to range taking the wizard kit. You have 10 extra range, which range in this game is really wild. I mean, that's only 50 extra, theoretically, because a square is technically 5 feet.
Saying 10 in this system,
it's a lot.
You need to understand, this game doesn't count feet, it counts squares, and a square is a 5-foot cube.
Yeah. That's
maybe it's
50.
6. Maybe they got fancy with it, I
don't know. 2 meters, yeah.
Hell.
But, yeah, so your magic wards, what it gave you was 5 health. Your staff gave you 2 damage and 10 range. Let's just say that. Shining armor, the kit that the dwarven tactician has, I do believe. Their heavy armor with a shield is +20 health. Their medium weapon, and a thrown weapon, but this category is +1 damage instead of +2.
Yeah.
And their range is +5 instead of +10.
Yep.
So picking this kit really takes your class and then adds this modifier to turn you into something. You can take that shining armor kit. There's nothing that says you can't.
Yeah.
As a mage, as a talent, as a fury, doesn't matter. If
as
you
a
want
fury,
that 20
let
extra
me
health,
tell you, that fury's going to look at that 20 extra health and think about it.
Yeah, really. And it also gives you bonuses to your speed. Just because your kit, it's kind of how well equipped you are. Like the cloak and dagger kit, which is light armor, light weapons, gives you +3 speed. Wizard gives you +2. Shining armor only gives you +1.
I'm a little confused, actually. This might be a mistype as I'm looking at this. These +10s and +5s. No, the +10s and +5s. I think that might be wrong. I think that might be in feet and not... Because the +5 range on weapon attacks on the Shining Armor kit, surely that can't mean that your range on weapon attacks is 5 squares.
Only if you use the thrown weapon, I guess. Because in that kit, you get heavy armor, a shield, medium weapon, and a thrown weapon.
Oh, okay.
Maybe that's what they mean.
Maybe it's +5 range with thrown weapons?
Yes.
I'm
does not say that. You're correct, though.
Yeah. So,
yeah, that is the weird part.
And again, everybody remember, this is all playtest and this is all pre-edited. So they do a few passes, but they certainly don't do a professional level pass on this stuff. At least I don't think they do. So that would mean your range is, 6 technically? With everything you do? It depends on what the default range is, right? But something I will note that I enjoy is that speed is always increased from a kit.
Yes, always increase.
Never does it feel good to have your speed reduced by something you wear. They figured that out in 5th ed with the heavy armor, finally reducing that -10 off of it that you used to get, which felt like garbage.
And, since armor and weapons and all of this theoretically are a kit, donning and doffing armor, I'm not thinking about it. I'm never thinking about it again. I'm just not going to do it. Unless there's a reason for me to think about it narratively, I'd never want to think about it again. Period. Right? Like, it doesn't matter how long it takes.
You know what I think would be where heroic fantasy goes to die is having to deal with taking off and putting on the armor on screen.
Yeah, exactly. No way.
Actually, I guess that would be where the cinematic would go to die. So that's what this isn't. This putting on and taking off your armor is never, except for maybe like an interstitial scene, not something you're going to see on the screen. So why would it be in the game?
Yeah, you can make it cinematic, but by default, it's kind of rote. So let's just move on.
But another great thing about all these kits is each of them comes with a special ability,
which is the coolest part. And I think that these are very interesting because they're all that we have examples of are once per encounter abilities. No, these are not encounter powers. Shut up. Shut up. People who do not like 4th edition. These are not encounter powers.
No,
they
stop,
are, but they're
stop
not.
saying that.
Just stop. Stop saying. So, for example, the Wizard Kit. The Wizard Kit gave you the 5 health, the 2 speed, 2 damage with magic and psionic attacks, 10 range. But you also get the following ability once per encounter. You can take flight. It's a magic ability. The time is 1 maneuver. We'll get there, but that's basically a move action. Don't worry. Distance is 15 squares. So within 15 squares, you can pick 1 creature. And the effect is that target can fly a number of squares equal to your reason, intuition, or presence. Intelligence, wisdom, or charisma.
Yeah.
Very cool. Once per encounter, you or any other target that is willing. I mean, you could target a non-willing creature, but I mean, they can fly. They don't just fly. So I don't know if they would use it or they might use it. I don't know. Could be fun. But yeah, you just pick someone within 15 squares, and once per encounter, they fly, let's say 3 squares right now. Because I think the highest I've seen is 3.
Yeah, and I forget, I think teleporting, there's a bunch of things where the rules interact weird, that give keywords for things. So, but flight is not one of them. Sorry, I was thinking of teleport.
No. Yeah, fly is literally you fly. And things could stop you from getting there, and like you don't theoretically have to have line of sight, like teleport or line of effect, as they're saying.
And it's very similar to Dungeons and Dragons in the way that it works, such as if you are knocked prone. I'm sorry, I had a cough, something in my throat. It got stuck there for the last 5 or so years. In D&D as well, you have flight speeds for some things, and when they are knocked prone, they fall. You take fall damage. This game is not much different from that in that way. Is if something is flying, there's sometimes restrictions of needing to land when you're done or being allowed to hover, etc.
Yeah. So that's the wizard. We've used Shining Armor as an example. Let's use it again. What do they get once per encounter? They get the ability called Lead the Charge. It's a maneuver. Once again, a maneuver. You can still do an attack if you wanted to, or another maneuver. We'll talk about action economy in a bit. One ally, well, actually, each ally within 10 squares of you gets to move up to their speed. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's just absolutely wild. Right now, move. Everybody up to your speed. Right now.
Yeah. It certainly hits that tactical checkbox, and it is certainly something that most people will be like, well, why don't I get a cool special attack? It's like, because not everything in this game is about attacking, and you're going to learn that as you read this playtest more and more.
Positioning is very important.
Not only positioning, but doing things other than damage, essentially. Which is, I think, where the maneuvers come in, and this is one of the maneuvers that we've seen so far, and of the maneuvers, it is certainly one. Each
definitely
target,
one.
each ally in distance 10. So it has the ability to change the battlefield
Absolutely.
solo. So
yeah, in addition to all of your class stuff, because a tactician with this on can make a lot of people shift a lot, because you already have abilities to shift and now move. Yeah,
being able to move your speed, and then I love the spin down. I know we're not there yet, but I want to talk about shifting. Shifting used to be a thing you could do as a free action in 4th ed. You could move one 5-foot square as a shift maneuver, basically as your 5-foot step.
The good old 5-foot step.
Good old 5-foot step. And that was not able to be opportunity attacked or chance hit, if you will, in this game. In this game, any speed that you have can be converted into shifting by cutting it in half.
Every single time.
Which is great. I love it. And I know a bunch of people are going to hate the fact that you basically have removed a lot of the potential of chance hits. But I think that this game is very much a game where you don't want to give the opportunity for chance hits.
Your health is going down.
Yeah.
Constantly.
A lot.
Yeah. So it would behoove you not to be next to someone sometimes, or to rush up to them.
And you can't just say to someone, well, they'll probably miss the opportunity attack, or I have a feat that makes opportunity attacks be a disadvantage against me, or some other crazy thing. No, you're going to get hit, and it's going to deal you damage instantly, which is why chance hits have a lower dice roll, but they're still always there.
Yeah, welcome to the battle of attrition.
Yeah.
So, just to go over it, like Cloak and Dagger is an interesting one because it's also about sliding and moving and blah, blah, blah.
Plus 3
speed. It's an attack.
Plus 3.
Yeah. 3. Yeah. So just as a kit, Cloak and Dagger, if you pick it, whether it's on your Shadow or your Conduit or whatever else, and we'll talk about those, you get 5 health, 3 speed. That's a lot.
2 damage,
that's like
which in this game, also a lot.
Yeah. And 5 range with weapon attacks because they're light weapons, and I guess you could throw them.
Sure.
So you get the ability, once per encounter, Stabbing Misdirection. It's an attack with a weapon. It's an action, so this is the first one that is an action. Melee 1 is the distance. I suppose that increases with range, but let's not talk about that just yet. No. I don't know if that's true or not. You target one creature. What do you roll? 2d6 plus 2 plus your agility. Let's say that was 3. 2d6 plus 5. That is not your 2-hit. That is the damage that you will do to this creature. And you slide that target up to a number of squares equal to twice your agility. In this example, 6. So the way this game works is it's damage, then effect. So you hit it and you go, peace, get the hell out of here.
Goodbye. And slide, by the way, is in any direction of choice. There's something I need to get to here. Are we talking about movement yet, or are we going to get to that later?
Oh, we could do it right now, though. That's fine.
Okay.
So talking about toss.
MCDM RPG is a game about pushing people.
It is.
That's
what it is.
That is what this game is, and nothing shows that more than going into combat. And I'm trying to find all the different stuff that you can do here. It is, let's see, slamming into creatures, slamming into objects. Here we go. Forced movement. There are no less than 4 types of forced movement in the MCDM RPG. They are pushing, pulling, sliding, and tossing. All of the grognards or min-maxers in the chat and/or watching this will understand that the first 3 of those say without moving them vertically. Pushing, pulling, and sliding are without moving the person you're hitting vertically. You can't air juggle the enemies. I'm sorry. I know that all of the people who play those particular add a d6 damage builds in 5e or various other game have a lot of fun making fall damage a thing. Fall damage is the most terrifying thing in existence in Edge of the Empire, and this game immediately just says you move on the grid. Please deal with it.
Yeah.
Not so with toss. Toss any direction. The world
Any
is your
direction.
oyster. Throw them directly into the air. Laugh as they hit the ground.
Exactly, especially if you're a talent who can do it psionically from a distance.
Psionically
Like,
from a distance and increased by your victories once per encounter.
But so kits are cool. I kind of like them. I am one of the people, you know, there was a discussion, I think it was actually on the MCDM YouTube. There are people who look at the big list of weapons and go, there's a right answer, and I want to pick it. And that's me, usually.
And the answer is polearm.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, like, it's a problem to solve. Here, not so much. But your kit will limit what magical items you can get. When we talk about the magical item or two that we see in this playtest, we'll talk about it.
Worth noting also, the type of weapon that you have for your attack does not really matter. It's the kit. Your kit can give you, at most it seems, +2 or +1 damage currently. And if it's with daggers or with a sword or with a battle axe or with a giant piece of rebar that has cement on the top of it, it doesn't matter. It's 2d6.
Yeah.
Plus modifier.
If you want your heavy weapon to be a big butter knife that you can spin over your head, even though you have really small arms.
Looking at you, Andy.
You know.
Looking at you.
Yeah. You could do it. That's fine. It's not in the book because none of them are in the book, and you can just make it.
This is one of the examples of the glorious simplification of this system, finding a loophole and just saying nobody really... I mean, people care. People do care. When they want right answers because they want to be... Matt went through this whole explanation of this. People want the right answers to exist because they want to be smart enough to see the right answer. And some people enjoy lording the fact that they have the right answer over other people. Is that fun for cohesive gameplay? Not if the math is balanced, right?
Yeah. And the last thing about kits, which is probably the most interesting, is you pick it at character creation, right? Pick it at level 1. But you can swap them during a rest. And there's no real rules about that just yet, even in the resting rules.
I like to imagine a big wardrobe that one of you carries on your back everywhere. And then you pull out the curtain of different outfits that you might want to wear for the day. And you pick 3 of them and you go, feeling whirlwind today.
Yeah. Yes. I need that reach. But, so that's kind of the basics of your character. You know, you got health, you got abilities, you got your weapons and armor in a kit. Yeah. How the hell did we play this game?
Well, I mean... Let's see. I suppose we want to reading down, build a heroic narrative, don't we?
Yes. So that's a category in the playtest. Whatever. It's playing the game. The first thing to know about playing the game is...
What crazy new thing do we need to call the person who has to run this game for us? Because we certainly couldn't use Game Master or Dungeon Master or Director or what's the Call of Cthulhu one?
Well, one of those we do.
Crypt Keeper. I don't remember.
Crypt Keeper. Yeah.
No, it's not. It's like it's some other thing, but regardless.
Yeah, it's not Zaddy. So yeah, it's not Game Master, Dungeon Master, Producer, Storyteller. It is Director because kind of with the cinematic feel, they decided that makes the most sense. You are the director. It's very simple, and they change a word, but it's kind of interesting to think about that because in Teams with Attitude, it was the producer because it's a TV show.
Yeah.
I kind of love that, right? That you're the director. It's not language based, you know. I don't have any problem with calling anyone the Game Master or a Dungeon Master. It just has a different feel.
It does. And so I've seen a lot of derision for things like this where things try to make themselves unique by being like, well, we don't have a Game Master, we have an X. But there is something to be said. No gods are king,
only man.
That said, anybody who thinks that they do not have the power of a god when they are sitting in the chair of the person whose brain is the universe of the game that they're making hasn't reached far enough yet, I suppose, is what I would say.
You're not enlightened.
Unless at the end of the game your characters are trying to kill me, I have done something wrong, I feel, because I am the ultimate villain for you. No. But so it's something to be said to have these names be evocative and try to tell you something. And I don't really see it much in here, but if it's on a page somewhere, I would love the page number so I can get to it. But it's the director and having an explanation for what that's supposed to mean for you.
Sure, I think it's in Building a Heroic Narrative. I think. Did I steal it from some?
Falling. End round, blah, blah, blah. I scrolled all the way down to combat. Maybe that's on me.
Here we go. First mention of director. Does not explain it. Yeah. None of these really explain.
And see, that is something that I'm sure that they're going to obviously put that at the front somewhere of the person running the game is called the director, what this means. I want to know what their feeling on that is. I'm sure that if you parse through all the different videos that they've shown and all the different Q&As that they've done, they've talked about it a little bit, but it's one of those things where it's trying to be evocative of something that I think is important, because I think that for everything that I've seen GMs try to remove themselves from the rules, it's nice to have a route that is provided to you of this is what you want to be. In Teens with Attitude, I was the producer. It was my job to make sure that ratings were good on the show by introducing conflict, introducing drama, and overall being able to, form a narrative through different mechanics and things that I introduced. Something that makes me feel like a producer is a bunch of the different things that I did with you all that were outside of the rules normally that I added in.
Yeah, so they mention it only a little bit. In the basics, they say the flow of playing the MCDM RPG is like playing any other tabletop role-playing game with a director, also called a game master or GM in other games. Play is a conversation between the director and the heroes that describes the story. The director sets the scene, describing the important elements of the environment that the heroes would notice. That goes without saying why they picked it, but when they explain it in that way, setting the scene, I mean, that's very...
They picked the director because that's what it's called in Left 4 Dead. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, well...
That's an old poll, but...
Yeah, I mean, it's Matt's history.
But no,
Left 4 Dead and Evolved.
Yeah, Left 4 Dead and Evolved. But either way, it's one of those things where they chose a different name, and I think it's fitting. I think it's fine.
Yeah. So.
But let's talk about the biggest thing that everybody's interested in for this, right? Because what's a victory, Charles? What's it mean?
What the hell is a victory? So. You'll find this place on the sheet, and as you're looking through the playtest, you'll see this in places. Victories. So, we all know in that certain other game that is on the 5th edition, the adventuring
L5R.
days. How many? Yeah. How many encounters are in an adventuring day? Right? How much experience are you supposed to get?
Roughly 70.
What is challenge rating? Yeah. What is challenge rating?
A
lot.
How
does any of that work?
Typically.
Yeah, literally.
It used to be a lot better, and then they made it way easier, and that's why all the Kobold Press early released versions of modules for 5th edition D&D were either wildly too painful or absolutely super hilariously easy.
Right.
It was because they tweaked how dragons worked after they wrote it.
So in this system, as it is right now, don't know if it'll change. We have a few monsters, and we see kind of the general flow. Monsters don't have like an experience value. You're not building an encounter to give an amount of experience. Victories are what happens when you win an encounter or a non-combat encounter, get through a room of traps, a puzzle, right? Negotiations, blah, blah, blah. Your hero will gain a victory. As you gain victories, they will make you better in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
That's
what it does.
Just to give like some quick ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so for the tactician, Victoria's plan, you gain the following benefits once per encounter. When an ally within 5 squares of you deals damage, they deal extra damage equal to your victories. When an ally within 5 squares of you moves, they can move an extra number of squares equal to your victories, which at the start is 0.
0.
You start with 0 victories, so that is a non-ability to start.
And you don't spend them either, by the way.
Well, you mean I can't just eat my victories? I'm sure they're worth delicious, delicious experience, right?
Eventually, yes, but not right now.
Oh.
So yeah, until you rest. So victories power you up, and if you're a patron, you know this, but kind of as they're going through this design, they wanted to stop people from getting more afraid as the battles go on, right? There's a battle of attrition. Don't get us wrong. Health goes down. Resources kind of go down. But with your... Yeah.
Yeah, let's call a spade. Here's how people play 5th edition D&D. They use exactly what they need to if they hear that it's a trash mob, and they slowly weed their way through because things won't really be dealing damage to them in a lower part of an encounter. They hoard all of their good abilities and their single-use items and all of their things, and then they just ball it all up and they throw it at the boss, and the boss dies. Because that's not how the encounters were built, children. Yeah. You were supposed to be using that potion of haste before this point, not all of you saving them until the final fight and then getting 2 rounds per, and using your action point or your surge or whatever else. You were supposed to be worn down, or at the very least, you were.
I know it's tough because players, especially new players, are afraid just in general, right? It's scary. Like, even your most gung-ho, I want to steal all the money, is scared of dying and will do everything they can to not die.
The fear of dying in RPGs is something so palpable that I've never been as precious myself with, but also I guess I see the math a little more strongly than most. I don't know. That's certainly an arrogant thing to say, but but it's one of those things where the amount of aversion to putting oneself in harm's way in an action heroic adventure game is something that I don't understand personally, but it definitely makes sense to some people, and I can't knock them for it, and people have to understand that when they make games and when they play them.
Right, exactly. If you're running, any other game with new players, they are very likely to be risk averse. They're very likely to only do things when there's a master plan.
Meanwhile, apparently Matt Colville has killed himself a number of times playing a Fury because he can't not be the opposite of risk averse with the way that class works.
Right. So victories build up over time as you succeed, as you solve puzzles, as you fight little encounters on your way to the bigger encounters. They don't go away when you sleep. Resting is not sleeping. Resting, which is coming up soon, is returning to Rivendell, as they say.
Resting is resting. We're talking old D&D resting, where you go and you have a vacation, and then you come back to the dungeon.
Yeah, some downtime, at least 12 hours, they say.
Yeah.
So, what happens to victories when you do eventually rest is each one is converted into a point of experience. Okay, so that sounds great. That's a really awesome thing. Push until you rest, right? Fill that bar. We don't know how level advancement works just yet, so it's probably great. It's probably good. I don't know how many you need, right? I don't know if it grows over time.
I'd have to guess 10. That would be my solid guess, is 10 to level.
Yeah, and I don't know that needs to change over time.
No, I think keeping that a static number would be just a welcome surprise if they managed to do that, because the last thing I want to do is see exponential scaling on my leveling system, because I mean, here's the thing. I look at this and I say, that's really cool. I still kind of care about milestone more.
Sure, right, exactly.
Just the ability to say, hey, that's neat and junk, and victories are awesome, and it's great to eat your EXP at the end of the day, at the end of the adventure. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm probably still just going to get my players a level.
Yeah, and I think that that's probably a great idea, and I think that maybe I would love to see victories converted not only to experience, but into some sort of boons as well. In the like kingdoms and warfare, strongholds and followers way. In the I spent my victories on tangible stuff. I spent my victories instead of on experience on I now have a keep. You know, like I don't know.
Let me go to
the
victory shop. Let me spend my let me pull these victories out of my heart where I keep them precious to me, and I'm just gonna vendor.
Or maybe you turn into renown
this?
or something.
Yeah. No, I mean
like party based or something.
I like the system of victories. Let me not because it might have sounded like I was razzing it, but it's really just that as I'm looking at this and listening to it, finally, I love the concept of victories. It's so great because
it's a great idea.
It's this thing where I've played a lot of nouveau JRPGs. I really love having systems where there's a charge up. It started with limit breaks. And after limit breaks, which I think that was 7 had the first limit break, I want to say. Right?
I want to say as well, I don't believe there were any in 6.
No, I don't believe so. And I don't
There's just blitz attacks that I thought were limit breaks, but they're not. Yeah,
no. So
Sabin is an outlier.
Sabin, the closest thing you had to limit break was like science sword arts. But either way, limit breaks and battle points and all sorts of things are like these things that you charge up. You start at 0 at the beginning of an encounter, and then as you're going through in those video games, typically, I think at least for like battle points for like Octopath, you start at 0 every fight.
Sure.
Or you start at 1. And then you're always going to build up from there, which is always this interesting thing. But then in this game, what they're saying is, by the way, for the more victories you have, you can start with 4 battle points if you have 4 victories. Wouldn't that be fun? And imagine how much you'd just be able to beat the shit out of things right out the gate once you're strong enough. Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So...
Don't you want to snowball over time and get stronger?
Yeah, and in fact, I don't think I ever want to take a rest, Charles. With that in mind, I'd rather just gather victories ad infinitum. I don't need to level. If I have 15 victories in my bag, I'm just going to beat the crap out of anybody who comes at me. It doesn't matter what level they are, right?
I think you're priming the pump for me to talk about recoveries. Maybe.
A little.
So, as we said, there's no 2-hit. Damage just happens. If that kobold, they're kobolds in the playtest, so I just thought.
God, I hope they deal D4s. I forgot. I'm gonna go ahead.
I don't know. Oh, some of them are mean. But if that kobold rolled its 2d6 plus 2 and hit you for 8, you have 8 less health. So you want to use your recoveries. Well, you have a number of them, right? Now, this is according to your class, any abilities you have, and your ancestry, which is your, in other games,
for 2d6
race.
plus 4.
Oh, yeah. Kobolds are going to mess you up, man.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a dangerous system because...
The world's a scary place, folks.
Recoveries.
You need to watch out.
Yeah, because you have these recoveries, and as per normal, if that kobold hits you for its maximum, which would be 10? No, 2d6 plus 4.
2d6, maximum 17.
Yeah,
no,
okay, so...
16, sorry.
16. So if it hits you for 16, and you're that Woad Elf Shadow, and you are now at, 24 out of 40, you go, how do I get health back? Well, you can use one of your number of recoveries as an action, instead of attacking, right? You gain back your recovery value. Now, what's your recovery value? Your recovery value is a flat number that grows with your HP. It is a third, rounded down, of your HP.
I was going to say, I'm glad you asked, because let me tell you, the math is going to be fun.
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of thinking about. Do you like even and odd
numbers? How do you like factors of 3? Round down, by the way. This game is a round down system. Something to remember. It's nice when they just call that stuff out, and then they don't break their own rule later when it's convenient to them. We'll see how they do.
Yeah, so that kobold hit you for 16. You're okay. You're not scared. You just use a recovery. Now you have 1 less. Well, when do you get those recoveries back? Only when you rest. Only when your victories are converted into experience. Only when you have the downtime of a full day.
Now,
not a night.
Yeah.
A full day.
It's a lot, and let me just say that these healing surges, recoveries, are very interesting, and certainly I'm tongue-in-cheek here. It's very reminiscent of 4th edition.
How dare you?
Listen, man. I gotta say it. It's true.
It's fine. It's good design. It's
no,
okay.
It is good design. Something that was always so interesting to me. I didn't hate 4th edition. I didn't enjoy the games that I played in it, but I don't think that the person running
I don't think that the system
was what they wanted.
Yes, I don't think that they were very familiar with the rules, because I'm with you on that one game that we played.
Yeah, and so...
At least that I played.
Yeah, I also played... I played in like 2 games, and they were very short-lived because 4th edition caught a lot of flack and then didn't have much steam behind it, and then... I mean, they made a bunch of really cool books. Lots of people loved it. Pathfinder came out, and everybody's like, oh, it's like 3.5, nope. But with extra abilities, and they all jumped over there, and it became a whole thing. Also, something I didn't realize was the whole OSR, OLG, whatever, or OGL stuff for 3 was possibly one of the reasons for 4th edition existing was so they didn't have to go by that, and you could explain away a lot of stuff. It was a fun game. And it had a lot of great ideas. And one of those great ideas was you specifically can only heal this much. You have healing surges. When someone heals you, they use one of your healing surges, not one of theirs. You can only heal so many times. And then you need to take a short rest. I think you had a lot less healing surges, though. This game,
a lot less.
This game gives you, as a dwarf tactician, you have 10 recoveries. As high elf, you have 9. Human, you have 11. Orc, you have 12. Human has more. So it's all these different numbers, but it's a huge number of recoveries, and that's important because a recovery is also a useful action in combat. A third of your health is nothing to sniff at, and getting that by default with it is very, very, very nice.
Yeah, I mean. You have a set number, you're going to use them. There's no way that you're not, because even being healed uses a recovery of yours.
Yes.
So,
just like healing.
In this battle of attrition. Just like your searches. However, there's no gaming of okay, well, let's take a short rest or an 8-hour long rest. No, when you rest, you're stopping.
Yeah.
So as you're gaining victories, you also have to think about how many recoveries you are losing and how well you think that you'll be able to do. I'm sure there will be, and I think there already is a potion that I've seen that doesn't use a recovery that might just heal you, but I'm not entirely sure. That's going to be few and far between. No level 1 healer has it.
I'm sure it costs money.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Yep.
It's if you're going to have consumable items in a game, you need to make them actually do things, and that's something that it can do. I mean, we have health potions in just about every single form of any tactical and RPG, JRPG, anything that we've ever played. They shouldn't go away. They're kind of a staple at this point.
Right. So recoveries are slowly going downward as you take damage, which you will at all if you're targeted. Just saying. Your victories go up, and it's the balance of how far can we push before we need to rest. How many victories... How many W's can we eat? To use a meme from football. How many W's can we afford to eat while losing all of our recovery? And that's going to be a negotiation with your team.
Yeah, it will. And it will definitely be a talking point. And it's this great risk-reward that gives you a tactical choice with your rests, rather than you just making a devil's bargain with your game master, dungeon master, every time you're like, but what if we took a short rest right now? And all of the characters talk about it amongst themselves, and they all look knowingly over to their GM and wonder, are they going to punish me for this? Is it going to be okay? There's a system in place for it now. I don't have to punish you for taking a short rest. You're going to lose your victories if you want to rest. And there is no such thing as a short rest. That's what recoveries are for.
Yep. And, I can just see it in narrative play. Like, okay, we finally figured it out. We know where we're going. Do we rest or do we roll up on them? Right now, we have 5 victories.
We have 5 victories,
so
man.
Good.
I've got 1 recovery left, and I'm the front liner.
Yeah,
our backline has 5 recoveries. Maybe they can help share the load. We have a conduit. They're able to proc the recoveries for them with their useful actions. So maybe we'll be fine. It becomes an interesting discussion.
Yeah.
Which,
instead of all right, wizard, sure, we'll go to sleep.
Which, honestly, this is the thing that 4th edition was missing.
Sure.
It was missing a momentum system. The first thing that I noticed when I read the 4th edition rulebook versus reading the 3 rulebook was that 4th edition was so forgiving and so giving when it came to health. It was the first time that you ever had a game where it was just like heal to full.
Yep, just do it.
What? Yeah, you can just take a short rest. It takes like this amount of time and you just heal.
All right.
Cool.
Sure.
Do I need to do anything for that? Not as much as you would expect. Certainly not 1 health a day.
Yeah, certainly not. So that's kind of the juice behind pushing the characters, the narrative pushing the characters to do more.
What?
Whereas,
I'm sorry. I want to gush about this a little more. I love this much because it makes it so that the people who are risk averse have to level a reward against that. It really does take the choice as a GM or as a director out of my hand.
Yeah.
Like we're saying, like even a player who's conservative and is like, I don't want to go forward. It's like, well, but you do like power, don't you?
Do you want to lose that power? No. All right, well.
You're going to lose something. You have to pick.
There's one way. Yeah. So that's kind of the overarching kind of narrative push and experience, which we can't talk too much about because we don't know how we level just yet.
Nope. And we don't know what level gets us yet.
Yeah. There was talk, just to talk about it, of a feat-like structure that you could pick when you level up called a title.
I'm not going to say it sounds like Pathfinder 2e, but...
Yeah. So this would be, if you're familiar with the way MCDM has talked about, mostly Matt Colville, has talked about his games with his Master of Ravens, the monk who has these extra abilities. Titles would be, as you level up, ways to gain more special abilities. This is it's not in the playtest. This is just stuff that could come up.
And
I would guess you'd get HP.
It doesn't matter if it's in the playtest or not, because all of this stuff is all up in the air at this point. Whatever gets divined out of the bones that they're rolling in this playtest is what will find its way into different iterations. We're going to look at this in 3 months. It's going to be a completely different game.
Oh, yeah. Yes. But, all right, we know kind of how we are, how we do things. What are we rolling for? Are there skills? How does this work? Yes. So earlier we talked about tests. Those are one of the things that you can roll. So basically, these are skill checks.
Yeah, I'm gonna not.
It's fine.
I'm gonna not lie. This is, it's a scaled down version of what we're already familiar with.
Yep. It doesn't even take any time.
It's not even worth talking about at this point, really.
So there are skills, they work like anywhere else. Oh, you go.
No, please, by all means. Yeah,
I'll do it super quick. There's skills like acrobatics, athletics, charm, craft. That one's kind of interesting just because it's all the creation stuff. Yeah. Deceive, empathy, intimidate, knowledge, notice, instead of perception, interesting. Skullduggery. I just like the word. Stealth and vigor. So those are your skills that there are right now. Things happen. You roll against a target number that the director sets. There are degrees of success, though. If you succeed by 4 or more, director can choose to give you something else. No written rules, really, just something else too.
Yeah, and I will say this. This is what you would get if you took the peanut butter of your D20 tests in any D20 game, and you put them into the chocolate of your Powered by the Apocalypse 2D6 tests, and you kind of mush them together. But I don't think they're going to work this way. Because looking at the statement that they make, they say typical target numbers are easy, a TN 7, moderate, a TN 9, and hard, a TN 12.
Yeah.
If I have a trained skill in a stat that I'm good at, that is going to be a +3, 2d6, plus a d4, and once I hit level 5, plus a d8.
Yep.
That is
going to be very easy.
It's going to be, I would have to roll, even if I roll all ones, I'm still going to get a 6.
Yeah.
Which is possible.
So the easy stuff. Yeah, easy stuff is going to be...
Easy stuff would... It would be surprising to fail.
Yeah. Which, I suppose, by 5th level, sure, if... what holds, once again, we don't know levels. The idea might be that there are only 10 levels. We don't know yet. Yeah. There's been a lot of talk about... here's a poll. Who's gotten the 20th level in the other game? Yeah. I've never gotten the 20th level.
Me, because we went from 14 to 20 in one session each. The DM was tired of the game, but we forced him to finish it because we wanted to see how it played out.
That's basically how I've ever gotten to 20 is, let's test it out. Or,
you hit tier 3 and you're like, 1 level a session. Let's fucking gar.
Let's get the hell out of here. So tests are tests. They are skills. You're going to have skills. They're going to work like you normally think they would. The only interesting thing I think, and this is just a way to think about it, and you can take this into every game, honestly. With opposed tests, the only real note is that in the event of a tie, their wording is, the state of the scene does not change. If you are trying to hide from a guard that doesn't see you, and you fail, they still don't see you. If you're trying to hide from a guard that has seen you and fail, they still see you. It's kind of a very good rule of thumb that you can really take into other things. Like, what happens if it's me versus them to do this thing? Well, nothing changes about the scene, or one of you gets an advantage. I kind of like that, the wording, but that's about it. That's it.
I'm not a fan of them even codifying that, if I'm honest.
Sure.
Because
sure.
Of all the things in this system, this is the first thing that I'm seeing where they're like, there is a fail state, or there is essentially a null state. And it seems like they're very opposed to that. So I don't...
Yes.
I get it. It's a tie. There's nothing else you can really do about it, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. Tests are tests.
Yeah, tests are tests. Beneficial successes seem fun. I like... Yeah. I enjoy a system that lets you crit by succeeding over an amount. It makes it so that me succeeding an easy check with double the score I needed for it is suddenly potentially a fun thing for me, rather than me nailing a perception check and being told there's nothing there. And I just go, why did I nat 20 that?
Yeah, and maybe
why
that's
was there
why.
A check?
I think it's just that they haven't really revisited this yet, but maybe that's why they kept it to be so rote, is that with a beneficial success, you, the director, could give them things for rolling 14 on a 7. You know what I mean? And it's cool, but...
Yeah, and let me also say this. I mean, these are very seasoned. Like, I trust the two Jameses. My name also James. It was not surprising, but James Hake and James Introcaso, I am big fans of both of them, and I trust both of them when it comes to game design. I don't see the math working for this as someone who has run Powered by the Apocalypse games and knowing how strong a +3 on a 2d6 is. However, these people have play tested this and run this and been playing this for as long as they have. They almost certainly know many things that I don't know. And so it could be that once this hits table and I actually get to play it, I say, they accounted for it. Good.
Yeah, maybe. So that's tests and skills. So we're done with that. Toss that away. We know how it works.
It's not that it's bad. It's a good system.
No.
It plays exactly like you would expect, like a Powered by the Apocalypse game to play with moves, but with a little bit more dice mojo in there. And I'm a huge fan of having skills be a die added. I love that.
Sure.
I would love to see more games where the dice modularity is what makes it interesting. Yeah.
As we get into the meat and potatoes of any system, in my opinion, combat and action economy, let's talk about initiative, because that's something I really want to talk about. So, initiative, as we talked earlier, it's 1d6 roll. But who rolls it? How do you roll it? Well, when combat starts, if we're neutral and no one's surprised, then
we do determine surprise first. Another
yes, we
5th
do.
edition-y sort of, but
yes. Yeah, and I left to do that. But anyway, if you have the surprise condition, I believe that. I'm trying to remember, I'll look it up.
Yeah.
But you can be surprised. You are only surprised until the end of the first combat round, and it doesn't keep you from doing any actions. It just basically debuffs you. I'll get back to that.
Yeah,
but each side, one character or one person from each side, the enemy and the players, and this is very intentional. Combat only ever has two sides.
I did like this wording, yes.
Yeah. Even if there are three groups, like there's you fighting some bandits and there's a T-Rex, and the T-Rex is like, I'm gonna eat anybody. They are, I want to be sure not to misgender the T-Rex, they are on the enemy side, theoretically. They just get to go with the enemies. Why that matters. Each side rolls a d6. The winner's side goes first. That side then chooses who will be first in order. You pick someone to go, they do their thing. It then goes to the other side, who does the same thing. They pick someone to go, they do their thing, then it flops back over until everyone has gone. You get to pick the order of your side's turn, which is so fun. That's so good. I love that.
It is something that I have seen before because I've run 12 license levels of Lancer, and Lancer also uses this system. It in fact doesn't even ask you to roll initiative. It says, hey, players go first.
Yeah.
And if there was the only difference is, like, if there was an imbalance at the bottom, like if there were too many players at the bottom of the order and too many, because something else about this initiative system that they talk about in here that is similar to what I've seen before is once you get to where you cannot go back and forth anymore, all of those people finish out their turns.
Yep.
Which can lead to interesting tactical decisions, I've found, because something that's very fun is to have there be just a bunch of mooks on the initiative order and have them not taking their turns. And so the players have to think, well, there's only 4 of us and there's 10 of them. We really don't want all of them to go. We're going to have to do something about that before the turn ends.
Yeah. So I was talking about surprise. If your side is surprised, attacks against you have +1 boon, a d4. And you cannot use triggered actions, which is the biggest. Yeah, reaction, which is the biggest part, because we'll go through how reactions are a little bit different in this game and how freaking cool most of them are.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think, but they are still 1 per round.
They are still 1 per round. Yes,
which is different than some games are like 1 per turn now, and I'm just baffled. Yeah. It's too much.
That's a whole lot of reacting. True story, I don't know because of translation, but the Final Fantasy XIV tabletop RPG may or may not have reactions that are once per turn. I don't know. It could be turn around, but they don't know yet. So we'll see.
That's a completely different shoot this shit or whatever we're calling this now.
Yeah, that one will be. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna call this. Anyway, combat rounds are combat rounds.
Yeah,
they are everybody taking a turn at the end of a round. And like James said, there are more creatures on one side. When the other side has taken their turns, the rest of the people just go in whatever order they feel like.
Something that I have seen about this initiative system, by the way, is that there will usually be one person with a kit, not directly an MCDM kit, but like a kit that really speaks to being the person who goes first in the round.
Yep.
That can tend to lock you into some, I'm not going to say negative play styles, but certainly codified play styles, which is something that I'm not a big fan of.
Yeah. Anti-patterns or dark patterns, maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I can definitely see that. I mean, in 4th edition, the 3 sessions that I could play a monk with Open the Gate of Battle, I go first. Don't hit anyone. I want to go first. Thank you. Like, that's, I could definitely get that. But what is a turn? What can you do on your turn? And here's where we go back a little bit to kind of some, you know, that whole move minor standard thing. It was on a bunch of t-shirts.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's, you know, I'm sure that it's probably the same as 5th edition. You have your movement and you have your action, you have your bonus action, right?
Yeah, close. Not quite. Close, but not quite.
It's actually refreshingly different.
Yeah, it's good. So each creature on their turn gets to do a maneuver. Mm-hmm. And okay, I'm just going to go through the list of maneuvers real quick. I have it further down.
The so that would be maneuvers, yeah.
Yeah, move, assist, so help someone, give them a boon die. Drink a potion. Yeah, go ahead.
That's the one that I remember seeing that triggered me going, you can just... Oh, no, that was one of the ones where they wrote in. They said, by the way, you cannot stack assists on one character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the one time.
So that was one of the ones where I was like, oh, no, they didn't limit the amount of boons you could have. And they said, no, but we limit this one. It's like, okay, good.
Yeah, they don't want people to do the spirit bomb over and over again.
Everyone lend me your energy. And the Fury just walks slowly, dragging their battle axe.
Oh, boy. Drink potion is a maneuver. Mm-hmm. It's a move action. Yeah, we're used to that nowadays. Grapple is a maneuver. Makes sense. Those of you wondering, I'm not going to go through the grapple rules. It's like a paragraph and a half. It's pretty good. It's pretty all right. Usually you can tell a game by how easy it is to grapple.
Something right. I will actually force us to go into this because there is a thing that I did notice about grappling that I absolutely love. So everybody who plays 5th edition is going to fuck this up the first time. It's going to be beautiful because when you are grappled, forced movement does not break the grapple.
Yeah.
Only teleporting, I think.
Yeah, you can only teleport out of it, yeah.
If the enemy who's holding you is force moved or you are force moved, either the rules I think state either you don't move or the person holding you or you move with the person.
Yeah.
This game is very specific about the fact that it understands that it has so many different ways to shift people around on the battlefield. Grappling is much more specific in this game and tells you if you're grappled, you're fucking grappled. You need to use your maneuver to get a... What is it called? It's called a escape grapple.
Break grapple.
Grapple, yeah. You have to use your maneuver to get out of a grapple. Or you have to do something else like a teleport.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can't just thunderwave someone off of the opponent and then just be like, got it. Fun in 5e, not for this game.
Nope. Other maneuvers. Hide. Yeah. Hinder, which I would assume I'm going to look at it, but I'm pretty sure.
Also in Fabula Ultima, and I think it just grants a Bane die in this one.
Yeah. So you can just annoy people if you're not going to move.
It's honestly great. Like
it's really awesome.
You should be allowed to hinder your opponents. You're supposed to be annoying, and I'm sure that there's something that like a tanky person will be able to do.
Oh yeah. Especially if you don't need to move. If you don't need to move, you're a bard with Vicious Mockery right now. Because you can give them a D4 penalty on something. Pretty great. So, hinder, knockback. Knockback is just straight up the thing you can do as a maneuver.
So good.
You can push someone away. Just push them away. Fun. Yeah. The rules have limits, of course, right? You have to succeed a might check or resistance roll. They have to do a might resistance roll. And you can either knock them prone or push them a number of squares up to your might. Whatever.
Yep.
And throw an object.
Yeah. No, please continue. Sorry.
Throw an object. No, I was just looking at throw an object. Any object.
It says object, and the rules of the game state that an object is not a creature. So.
Yep. Unless they're dead. If they're dead, they are an object.
True.
Just something to add. So you can throw dead kobolds, but not kobolds with this. Anyway.
You can throw a lizard puppy, but you can't throw a real puppy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
So, unless you toss them, in which case you're allowed. And oh boy, are we going to talk about that, because something that I do see here in your stuff that I don't necessarily notice, so maybe I missed it. Forced movement, just in general.
Yeah.
Do we have that anywhere? Because as I look through, I see we're getting close to negotiations. And I don't
forced movement is right here in the movement, but all I have, just to talk about forced movement, is pushing creatures into objects or other creatures causes damage based on the remaining movement when you collide.
Yes.
Push someone 3 squares and they don't have 3 squares to go. you're gonna do 3 damage.
Something else to note is in this game they're very specific about when you are granted additional or free movement.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot move more than your speed.
Yes.
And that is a hard locked rule. So even if I'm granted like 10 squares of movement from somebody's ability, unless that ability actually says it allows me to, or if it says up to or something else, it seems like most abilities usually have a caveat of using your own move speed when you're given something like this. But for example, I think I don't know whether the tactician works like this or not, but the being allowed to move an additional number of squares gets kind of locked out by your own movement speed at the end of the day.
Yeah. That is true.
I think that that's probably not the case for the Victorious Plan ability, but it is stated in the movement rules is whenever you're granted free movement, you can still only move up to your speed.
Yeah, a single maneuver or other effect can never allow a creature to move more squares than their speed, unless the effect specifically states otherwise.
Yes.
Now,
it does not say that for forced movement, though, which is important.
Nope, you can move them as far as you want. Oh my goodness. Go take 10 damage. Enjoy. And break through. There are rules for how tough things are when you hit them.
Much. If you are a wooden piece of furniture, you have 3 toughness. If you are a what is it, stone structure, I believe you have 6. And if you are a steel structure, you have 9 toughness. But that toughness is against the force movement remaining on an enemy. The ideas that you can do with this and the beauty of this for a cinematic, heroic game is...
Yes.
It's just so fun. Not to mention, slamming enemies into enemies also causes this.
Or yourself.
I was gonna get to it. You beat me to it. It says you are allowed to use yourself as the force movement target. And I imagine the absolute guttural howl of every Fury who's playing this game as they just ravenously headbutt to deal themselves damage and get more Fury as they're going into fights.
Yeah. Oh, get mad. That's literally what it's for.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's very cool. I love that they have these rules in this first version. Like
this can only I hope can only get better. And this is the one they told us. They told us as we were looking at these, do not get attached. And I'm going to say the same thing I say about any game master, dungeon master, whatever, when it comes to your favorite storyline, villain, NPC, whatever. Do not let yourself get attached to these rules as they are right now, because they will kill your child and you will feel sad. Yeah. This is one of my children right here. This one, it would hurt to see it go away.
It's very cool.
I want to be a talent, and I want to throw a dude through a door in the tavern and have that be the cinematic moment of just seeing the back of the door and then...
Yeah, it's really cool that all of this is in here to start. Like that, it hits the words that they were talking about almost immediately. So movement, right? You can move. You can do an action, right? Maneuver and an action. So we talked about maneuvers, which moving is one of them. Now let's talk about actions real quick. So, what are actions? Actions, the things that you can take. Well, there's the attack action. There is a charge. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say the attack action, which is a subset action. It is not its own action to take. When you're taking an attack action, you use one of your actions that you have, your combat actions on your character.
Yes, to do. It's not even called the attack action. It's just called attacking. So yeah, it's, you do an attack with your action. You can also take the charge action, which is move up to your speed in a straight line, then make a basic attack. So that is not a maneuver, that is an action. Theoretically, you can move and then charge.
Yeah. No, you can.
And each one can only be up to your speed.
So basically what you have for this is you have charge, and then you can choose not to move.
Yeah, basically.
Because there's no action cost other to it. It's just you are allowed to, with your single action, move up to your speed and hit someone as long as it's in a straight line.
Yeah.
Which is a thing.
This charge also only allows you to do your basic action. You cannot use any of your heroic abilities, which we'll talk about very soon as we get into the characters, because honestly, this is like the biggest bit that is left, and then we get into negotiation, which is fun. Interesting.
It is interesting. It's just it's a little long in the tooth based on the read currently.
Yeah, we'll be. Don't worry, I got it down to like half a page. Maybe.
I trust
we'll
you.
See. So you can attack up to your reach, right? It's an attack action. We're not going to go crazy into this, but for example, right, you're attacking multiple creatures. You only roll damage once. Whatever, that makes sense to me. They have an example. An attack's damage entry might read 2d6 plus 1d8 plus might. That's a lot. You add all that together, and that's the damage that your target takes. This works for you too. No two hit. You just do. Damage happens. Now, there's ways to mitigate that damage in triggered effects and other things. But that's it. You're taking that damage, which is why you need your recoveries.
Yeah.
Boons and Banes effect.
You
damage
have
happens.
mitigation. It's called your armor. Your armor gives you more health, which is enough for about half a hit at far as we're seeing so far, unless you're taking shiny armor. And then it's one really solid hit or one not so solid hit, or two not so solid hits.
Yeah, it'll give you a little bit more staying power, honestly.
Yeah.
So as you attack, just a quick thing, damage, then effect. The damage happens first, then the effect occurs after dealing damage. I'm pretty sure that if you're immune, there are damage immunities and weaknesses in this game. Like let's say trolls are weak to damage or weak to fire. They have fire weakness 5. They take 5 extra damage from every hit that has a fire tag. You can eventually get fire immunity 5. So this is kind of the way that you could get soaked. Sure, magical weapons will have, or magical armor, because there will be magical things that add to your kit. But a big thing to talk about is critical hitting. There's weapon dice, but we're not gonna double that, right? That's just straight up damage. That would literally murder people. What do we do instead? It's even more unhinged when you think about it. When you roll, if you have 2d6 in your attack, this is the main caveat.
Yeah.
If you have an attack that doesn't say you roll 2d6 plus whatever else, it cannot crit. Has to have 2d6 in there. But when you roll 2d6 and you get an 11 or a 12, that's a critical hit.
At least one 6 on a die and 5 on another, or a 6. So.
Yeah, exactly.
There are like 4 states on the die set.
Yeah. This allows you to immediately take an extra action, whether or not it's your turn.
Now, I remember Dale Kingsmill talking about this and saying, I think the funny thing is that it was even more unhinged in the playtest originally, because it gave you the ability to, like, I don't remember how it worked exactly, but essentially it was rolling. Yeah.
Oh, no. Yeah, because it says you can only benefit from a critical hit once per turn.
It didn't used to say that.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot. So
it's so much.
Critical hits are very, very interesting, especially when you think about, like, I don't see very many triggered actions that have 2d6 in them, but I know that there will be, and that can crit and make you take an action immediately on a triggered effect that could trigger when someone attacks someone else or at the start of someone's turn. So that's kind of really interesting.
You know what? That's what it was.
I don't know how many that's going to be.
I think it was that there was the you were able to. It was talked about on the Ghostfire podcast. They were at the playtest for MCDM, and I think it was originally that chance hits were 2d6. So you could end up having a person have their turn on someone else's turn because of the triggered attack that they had. It was
and
it just made it very confusing, and it made it where people would forget whose turn it was.
Yeah, you get lost in the sauce.
Because you make your attack. Oh no, you critted. You make another action. You're doing all these maneuvering style attacks and moving stuff around and doing things, and then it's like, cool, I'm done with that, I guess. What were we doing again?
Whose turn is it? Oh, okay. Yeah. That's right. Yeah. A thing to know about actions: you can take an action and turn it into a maneuver. Not the other way around, but you can take your action and just do a maneuver instead.
It's the dial down, back from 4th ed.
It is. It's
you can
great.
Have your major action, your minor action, and your movement. You can turn a major action into a minor or a movement. You can turn your minor action into a movement.
At least here, it's a lot more simple. It only goes downward from action.
If you want to trade your 4th turn tomes in, you can trade them in for a 3, a 2, or a 1.
Wow. How did we get to Final Fantasy 14?
Crazy how that works.
So, maneuvers, actions. There are free maneuvers. As they say, boring shit. Opening doors, picking up objects, handing objects over. If you can't do a maneuver because of a condition, you cannot do a free maneuver either. It's just something to know.
Yeah. I appreciate what they said for this, but basically the wording of it was, free actions are things that you shouldn't give a shit about. Please don't give a shit about them.
Yeah, please stop. Don't make us think about it.
Don't make your players spend a turn going into their bag and pulling something out of it. It's not worth.
Nobody.
When's the last time you remember taking off your backpack at the start of a fight in a tabletop game you played? It was on your back. You were walking with it.
Yeah, you'll be fine. So that's a free maneuver.
Yeah.
So now we're getting into out of cycle stuff, and it'll be very quick. A triggered action is basically a reaction.
Yes.
We talked about that a little bit before. You can only do 1 per round, all the way through everybody's initiative. So you better pick the one that matters.
Yep.
Because there's a lot of cool triggered things that you could do. So you better pick the one that matters.
Pretty sick example. Dwarf Tactician has parry. We're all familiar with it. It functions pretty much the same as the NPC parry does in 5e. The attack's damage is halved, and then you can spend a focus if you want to reduce it by an additional 1d6 plus 3. I don't know where they get the plus 3 from. Great. I'm sure that there's some math there, but
must be might or endurance or something.
Might or endurance or something. But yeah. So it's there's your damage reduction, and I'm sure that there are some other things for other classes as you go. So.
Shadow can teleport away, and if they get out of range of the attack, they have it.
They just
they have it by default. Yeah.
Yeah, if they get out of range, and you can spend insight to keep going further.
So it's very interesting. These triggered actions are going to be what really shows your mastery of the tactics, I think.
Yeah.
On a personal hero level. And then there are also free triggered actions. I mean, they don't give a whole lot of examples of this, but
Healing Grace
would imagine.
Target spent 1 recovery for every virtue you spend on this ability. So
yeah. Some of them are free, which means you can do that and still do your normal triggered action that round. Yeah. So those will be very important to know as well. This will be one of the things that directors and players have a little bit of trouble with getting used to, I think.
Yeah. This is going to be just because it's not a verbiage that people are used to or whatever. You have your action, your maneuver, and your triggered actions. You also have free maneuvers, and you gotta free maneuvers. I could see them falling to the wayside. The free maneuvers that actually have like a card basically associated with them, just because that's a lot.
It is, because one of the triggered actions that you can take is a chance hit or an attack of opportunity. Yeah. Let's be honest, it's an attack of opportunity. It is a free triggered action, so you can do as many of these on your turn as you want to. First and foremost, that's a thing. It's a free triggered action. There's no combat expertise to do more than 1 attack of opportunity. I'm sorry, I'm a 3rd generation D&D player, so I remember combat expertise.
Something that I think is the funniest thing is that one of the things that I found absolutely delightful about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, opportunity attack is a feat for the fighter.
Oh, interesting.
You don't even get to do that as a normal schmuck. You got your wand. Go fuck yourself. You don't get to do this.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Swing your staff at him?
Yeah, I could see that. And then, you could take a feat or whatever else.
You can take it as a baseline feat at a different level, but fighters just come with it.
Yeah, and that's fine by me. But it's a chance hit. It does like a D4 plus your might or one of your characteristics.
It does nothing. It's fine.
It does nothing.
It's D4 plus your attack stat.
You cannot.
It's attrition.
Yeah, the only time that you cannot make an attack of opportunity when someone leaves your reach without shifting is if you have a Bane on your attacks for that round. If you have a Bane, you cannot do a chance hit. And chance hits cannot gain boons.
Right. Which makes sense because, again, we're trying to just make... This is supposed to be disincentivizing you from from not shifting in combat.
Yeah.
If you're in a melee,
just think about it.
Move slow. If you're not in the melee, run up. But no, it makes perfect sense. It makes a very clean and a very sleek, I want to say, amount of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's basically following all the premises we already know. Once you're engaged, you have to be careful, otherwise you're going to get smacked.
Yep. And that's the action economy. Of course, there's a lot of detail, right? Other actions that you can do are like defend, which gives everybody a Bane to hit you. Yeah. Recover, like we said before, is an action, not a maneuver. You need to be able to do an action to recover. That's just something to know about action economy. Recovering is going to stop you from attacking just a little bit. It's really just a breather, You can still do a maneuver, which could do damage or shift someone or be magic or whatever the hell else, but you cannot recover and do a regular attack, like an attack action, in the same turn. Can't do that. Unless someone triggers it.
Yeah. I do want to also say, as I'm looking through this playtest document, something I completely missed was the defend action.
Oh, yeah. Defend is great. That's cool.
I wonder if it is. Because it's your action, right?
Sure.
So you can already hinder someone.
Do you think it should be... Yeah, you could.
Hinders a maneuver that makes them suffer one Bane. But I guess that's making someone else suffer one Bane versus making everyone who attacks you suffer two.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you could do both if you really don't want to die.
It's true. And again, it doesn't make them not hit you like you're used to that sort of thing doing. It just makes it reduced. Kind of like defend in Final Fantasy games.
Yeah, I could see this happening. Like, a conduit gets stuck. And they're like, oh, God, I need my party here. The best thing I can do, because I don't need a recovery right now, is I know I'm going to get attacked, though, is hinder the biggest one closest to me and then defend. And everything is suffering minimum 3 less damage, maximum 12. Pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty okay.
Yeah.
That might save your life.
It could. It has all the looks and trappings of a trap pick to me.
Yep. It does. It really does. Like, you would have to be in dire straits at that point.
Yeah, it's a real question of using that instead of using one of your really, really cool things. I wonder. Yeah. I do.
And also, defending is an action. So if you're unbalanced and bleeding out, that dealt 5 damage to you to save 2 to 8 damage. So that's a thing that they might have to revisit.
Now, again, worth remembering. At any time, I think you can go unconscious in the system or something, can't you? I forget.
Yes, you can. It's a condition, and if you can't take actions maneuvered or triggered actions.
Does that
and you can't undertake no action
being
activity.
Unbalanced though?
Or is it it's just something else that can happen to you. It can be applied. Attacks made against you have 3 boons. Owie. 3 to 12 extra damage. Ouch. That's not fun. I don't want that.
No, in fact,
don't want
that is not what I thought it was. I'm thinking of Fabula Ultima again. In Fabula Ultima, you're allowed to say, you're allowed two options when you're downed. You're allowed to say, I surrender, or you're allowed to say,
yes.
But what if I go supernova and sacrifice myself right now?
Yeah.
It gives you both those choices. But
yeah,
I think they did something. They did something like that in the system, and people were just too gung-ho about it.
Yeah, they just wanted to die too much. They were talking about, can't remember what they called it, but it is in these rules just in general, like I can't remember what it was called, and I don't know where it is.
Sacrifice or something, probably.
Yeah, something like that, where, once you hit unbalance, you could do this. But anyway, that's the action economy and all those options, and we'll talk about at least a character sheet in a bit.
Yeah.
But let's get into the big, different system called negotiation.
Now, it is big and different, but I will say it is pretty slim, but we'll get into it.
Yeah, it's pretty slim. It is something that if you're not used to something like this, it might not readily be apparent, and it might be hard to get your players to figure out when it's negotiation time and when it's not. But this is what it is. It is a subsystem used for negotiating something of worth from an NPC. Now, this is more than just I roll a charm.
So I want to have an apple from a vendor, so I would start a negotiation with them, right?
That's a little too easy, I would say. It's something, and I know why you asked that. It's something where they have interest in helping you, right? There's got to be a reason for them to not want to just give you exactly what you asked for, right? There has to be a reason not to just jump on board with whatever the heroes propose, right? So it's not going to be, I want to buy an apple. All right, let's negotiate how much money this costs. It's not that type of negotiation. That is a rote test. I want it to be correct. It would be like a charm versus a target number test.
I don't even
no problem.
For a lot of things, I think those are other things too. And in the system, they say this. And a lot of systems that are merciful, they say this: don't make people roll for stupid things. Please don't make a roll unless there's going to be a meaningful outcome.
Yes.
So negotiations are an even higher subset. You have your tests, which are for a meaningful outcome, and then negotiations, which are for a potentially campaign-altering outcome.
Right. Examples of this that they show or talk about are talking to a king about getting some help to delve in a tomb. And the king wants to help you, but you're also asking for monetary or something other help. So they're open to it, but they might not really want to put themselves 100% behind this. Why should they? That's your job. Your job is to tell them why they should. So negotiation is not blackmail. It's not threatening violence. That's not a negotiation. That's a threat.
Yeah.
Negotiation is persuading someone willingly because you've convinced them that meeting your objectives is a good idea for them as well. Right?
The way that they phrase this, I think, and at least in the videos and such, is the outcome of this is not through coercion. You are trying to genuinely change the NPC or whatever's mind towards you in a meaningful and permanent, or at least semi-permanent manner. And just saying, do it right now or I'll beat you up. If I were that NPC, I'd be like, cool, you're going to have to leave. You're a fucking adventurer. Yeah, sure, I'll do whatever you want. Are they out of the door? Lock the room. I don't.
Yeah, seriously. Like, what do you...
Which, in this system, is not safe. They can throw a dude through a wall. It's bad. But
fair. So, it's a system. It has to have numbers somewhere. Like, we're talking about why you negotiate, right? There's a few examples, like the king in that maybe you want to overthrow a king and you're going with the local thieves guild and they go, no, you're going to lose. So your negotiation is trying to make them understand that you can win and there'll be good stuff for them if you do. How does that work? So when you enter into a negotiation, that NPC has a set of stats. And it may seem weird at first, but it makes a lot of sense when we break it down. One, the first skill that we talk about is how interested they are to even make a deal in the first place with the NPCs, or with the heroes. It can it's a level from 0 to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is how interested they are. This will fluctuate over the course of the negotiation as you try to make arguments, which is a negotiation action.
Worth mentioning.
Mm-hmm.
5 is success. Once you have them at interest 5, you've succeeded at your negotiation.
And it is over at that point.
Yeah.
That is one of the ways that it can end. If 0 is reached, it ends with no deal. Period. Yeah. They're done. I'm not interested in what you're selling. Goodbye. But yes, if you reach 5, nothing, the NPC...
Good day, sir.
Yeah. If the NPC reaches 5 interests in your party's, negotiation, they make a final offer and it ends right then, as James was saying. So their interest goes up and down. But they also start with an amount of patience for you. And for a lot of players, that's going to start low.
I'm going to tell you right now, I saw the patience number and I was like, maybe all my NPCs have that now, huh? Maybe that's just a thing.
I'm taking it. So patience is how much time and effort the NPC is willing to devote to this negotiation, and it's a score from 0 to 5.
Yeah.
Each NPC starts higher than 0 when you start a negotiation, because you can't start a negotiation if it's 0.
Right.
It can't.
No.
So they'll start at 1. But if 0 is reached, the NPC makes a final offer immediately and negotiation ends. Now, that final offer could be fuck off or I kill you. That depends on how much their interest was at that level. If you run out of patience at a 3, it's different than running out of patience at a 1, or heaven forbid a 0.
Yeah.
Right? Interest.
I will also say something to note is these argument TNs, just from every single example, even the most trusting of NPCs is looking at a 10 plus to succeed an argument against that NPC. So you are never going to have an easy time of this. It is always going to be a challenge.
Yes. So how do you make an argument, right? So the argument is basically the action, the role, the thing that changes the interest and patience number. How you get to make an argument is kind of the gamey part of it. Before that, each NPC, because they're a real individual, has at least 2 motivations. So what is a motivation? Yes, 2, at least 2, because you don't want to screw your party. Yeah. So these are motivations like, I want to protect the realm, or I need people to see me as a good ruler, or the Thieves Guild has to succeed versus this other guild,
It's important to note, as you're saying with this, it's these motivations, and we're going to talk later about pitfalls.
Yeah,
must be related to the negotiation.
Yes.
You should not have their motivation be, I like pie. Because as fun as that is, and as quirky as it is, you're going to want to hit stuff that the players could, or their PCs could infer from talking to the NPC, not just have them have random traps and or prizes hiding in them.
Yeah. Right. So another example, right, is that, or at least a way to understand motivations and figure out these motivations is to literally ask. Like, you can start by asking, what do you want out of this deal? That could work. You could uncover motivations outside of negotiation. You could find a note that has a motivation of the king in it. Right?
Gamifying this seems very core to the negotiation system, and it is a real shame that there really isn't much here to add rules for.
Yes. Yeah, because I think this is where you're going to get a lot of juice out of this storytelling, especially as a director, is figuring out what your NPCs want from your heroes and how to seed their motivations and pitfalls around, so that they don't have to just rely on running into it in the negotiation. Sure, there should be some that they might not know. That's fun, but them doing the legwork should get them something, you know? Yeah. But if you want to figure out a motivation without that sort of thing, right, A hero can make a charm, empathy, or intimidate test using reason, intuition, or presence. You can charm them. You can use insight or empathy, or you can just intimidate them.
Yeah.
The target number for this is the same as the NPC's argument target number. So if they were just neutral, open to what you're neutral to what you're saying, that target is a 13.
Yeah, it's big.
It's big.
That is already higher than a hard level task provided on the typical TN chart.
Yep. And if you succeed, the hero, whoever rolled that, can either pick one of the motivations or one of the pitfalls. If motivations are things that you talk about to get better things, pitfalls are the opposite. If you use a motivation, if you use a motivation successfully, then you will get you will get interest.
Yeah,
100%.
It is worth noting that the way that it says is, and this is something that again is like the opposite of gamifying this, but it does provide for interesting dialogue, and it does provide drama, which is something that this system is very interested in. The motivations don't require a die roll. If you know a motivation and you trigger it, you just get that interest. You get +1.
Yeah. So figuring these out and hitting them in a good way is great. Now, if you fail with deceive, this is a corner case and I love it. If you try to deceive for any of these things and it fails, patience decreases by 1 immediately. The NPC costs you in a lie. And that's not fun.
I love that.
That's great. It's awesome. It's so good.
This is once again, there's a lot that isn't gamified here that I would like for there to be more of. But there's also a lot here that is just really cribbable for any game that you run. It's like,
seriously,
hey, did you get caught in a lie with the NPC? Immediately -1. King Memnon disapproves.
Yeah. Will remember that.
You see that little -45 attitude and you go, shit.
Shit, fuck. Damn it. So, that's motivations. Pitfalls are basically the opposite. If your argument that you're trying to use mentions one of the NPC's pitfalls, like, let's say the king is very, very concerned with how he's seen to his people, and you hit on that, like, negatively, that's it, right? That's interest and patience go down by 1 if you hit a pitfall. It's worse than being caught in a lie. Not only do they lose interest because they don't want to talk about that with you, but also their patience goes down because they don't want to talk about that with you.
Yeah. And now I will say this is very nebulous as to what makes patience go down, because it feels like patience is supposed to be something that is constantly decreased. I'm seeing, like, the Elder Scrolls, the you get so much time, and then here's where they are on the needle, and then as you're trying to pick options, you're vacillating on the needle, and then you only have so much left of your little energy bar to spend, and then once you're out of that, you're done.
Yeah. And there are some ways for patience to go down as well. So we talked about motivations and how to find them.
Yeah.
But if you appeal to motivation, like we were talking about, you have to appeal to one that hasn't already been talked about. So if they say, or if you know that they want to do anything for their children, anything, and you hit that motivation once, if you say it again, interest does not change, even if you succeed, but their patience decreases by 1 also, because they're like, okay, I've heard that. I get that. What else are you going to give me?
Yeah.
Or what else can we talk about, right? Now, if you make an argument and you don't hit a pitfall and you don't hit a motivation, so you're just going, I'm just going to roll a charm, right? I don't know a motivation. I don't know if I hit a pitfall, and you don't. The hero who makes the argument must make the test, right? It could be reason, intuition, or presence. In any applicable skill, most commonly charm, deceive, empathy, intimidate, or knowledge. I'm sure people are going to be arguing for other things, and that's what you should do. You should. But the TN is determined by the NPC's attitude. On a success, their interest goes up by 1. On a failure, it decreases by 1. Right?
Yeah.
If you use deceive, the director at their discretion can make it go down by more than 1. If you wanted to, you can give them that second one if you want to. So that's the way that works. Whether it succeeds or fails, this approach reduces the patience by 1 because it doesn't directly appeal to one of their motivations. So since NPCs only have 2 or 3 motivations, if you hit one and you can't find any others, you're just rolling. You're just rolling, and patience will continue to go down every time you make an argument.
I got a real flash for a moment of buffer saving as I was thinking of that. Just the idea of, okay, it's an interesting math game, but the problem is that a lot of it is obscured from the player.
Yep.
And that's another thing is that there's a discussion in here on whether or not you want to reveal what the patience and the patience and the stance of the NPC is toward the players. How much you want them to see the sausage being made, you know?
Right.
And I feel like it's supposed to be a game. I would like for there to be mechanical ways to. Nothing in the characters' kits yet speaks to these negotiations.
Yeah, nothing at all.
And it's supposed to be a mechanic of the game, and it's certainly not the largest social. I mean, it could be that this is like an alt rule by the end of it all. This book is apparently going to be 400 pages of stuff. So they've obviously got a lot of things in there. And this playtest is 32. And it might be that the negotiations end up not being as much of a pillar as they are to core what people know about Matt Colville.
Right. Yeah, I could see that as well. And, you know, I think that this is probably the least tested. I don't want to say that for them. But most likely, because as you said, no classes interact with it.
Yeah. It's got all of its own, it's got a skeleton framework. And again, listening to Ghostfire, like negotiations and their current iteration as they played them, which was like, I want to say 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago. So not where they are currently. It was pretty hot off the presses. So they've got internal stuff that they're doing, but this is, I think, the first external of it. And I like all the pieces of it, but it just feels like the mechanics of the game don't quite speak to it yet. It's like it's a skill challenge with extra steps.
Yeah. So as you're doing this and making arguments that either appeal to motivations or hit pitfalls, right? This is the loop. You do a target, you succeed, fail, patience goes up, down, or only down, or neutral. At each step after a hero makes an argument, the NPC responds, right? Yeah. With a, positive or negative. This is up to the director, right? Impatience if they're lowering their patience, right? But I think the most interesting thing is at any step, the NPC will give you an offer. Like, that's up to the director. If they're at 3 patience and you've gotten them to 3 interest, they could go, yeah, I'll help you, but I need to do this. And you could just decide to stop the negotiation at that point.
Yeah. You can quit while you're ahead.
That's fine. Yes, but sure. Yeah, that's good enough. Like, I don't want to push it because I don't want you to get mad at me. And I don't think you have much that you can give me. And maybe that's what the players think.
And that's what speaks to the fact that these argument TNs are so high. Because the reason that they're so high is because 3 is enough. So as you look at all these examples, patience low or for hostile, patience is 2, interest is 1, argument TN is 15. But if you manage to hit 2 motivations, you're already at a yes but.
Yep. Which is good enough. I mean, they're openly opposed to you, and you got them to that because you know their motivations and you avoided their pitfalls.
Yeah.
That seems great. Like, the bones are really good. And the levels, so they give this to directors as just kind of a rule of thumb. So interest goes from 0 to 5. I'll go backwards. Interest 5 is yes and.
The improv.
If it's 5, I love it, right? Yes and. And what that is, they'll give the heroes everything they asked for. So if they were like, we need monetary help to do this, how much is it? 200 gold pieces. All right, I'll do that. And
a brand new car.
I will, something. I will send one of my retainers with you. Or I know you'll need gear. I'll give you that free of charge. Or whatever makes sense to that NPC, because the heroes got them to 5. Yes and. Right. The example here is if the heroes ask the boss of the Thieves Guild for that organization's help in standing against a lord, the guildmaster might pledge to send a unit of elite assassins to aid in the battle. And then offer the heroes a quiver filled with explosive arrows to give them an edge in the fight.
I like the idea that they definitely just alluded to the fact that warfare is going to be in the game.
Oh, yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because a unit of assassins is something that you deploy to a warfare map.
Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting how it can affect all the other systems. But if you get to 5, the NPC should let the heroes know that this is the best offer they can make.
Yep.
That's it. I'm not going to go through each one of these. 4 is yes. I agree.
On the 10.
You can push for more.
You asked for something, you got it.
Yep. You can push for more, but maybe you don't want to. 3 is yes, but. Yes, I'll help you, but I might need help, or I might need you to do something for me, or anything you can imagine from there. If you ask the Thieves Guild that and they gave you a yes, but, they'll say, yeah, we'll help you, but we need to pin it on the other Thieves Guild.
But it's heist time now, adventurers.
Yes, exactly. 2 is no, but, hey, I can't help you with that. I can't send you an elite squad of assassins, but I could give you the latest reports on the Lord's movements. I'm gonna do that instead.
A silver
you
medal
can end there
prize.
if you want. Yeah, you can end there if you want, or keep trying. Interest 1, no. Just no. Yep. I mean, the NPC could say something. No, why should we do that? Because they're still interested. They're not done. You could still negotiate, but if they're low on patience, it might get worse.
No.
Interest 0.
And.
No and. And I have in here, no and, you know what? Fuck you.
True.
If the NPC's interest is 0, they offer nothing, refuse to negotiate, and seek to harm you in some way. Now, that could be a fight right then, or it could be spreading lies, or anything else. Yeah. And the heroes are going to have to dig out from that hole.
And seek to harm the heroes is the caveat rider that's there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that if you hit interest 0, you fail out of the negotiation into the no and state automatically.
Yeah, it's impossible to continue a negotiation when the NPC's interest drops to 0.
Yeah. So
the end.
You have the ability to fail spectacularly every single negotiation, and some of them right off the cup if you manage to mention a pitfall.
Which is amazing. Could you imagine going to the Thieves Guild and, your mouthy, mouth of the party is like, yeah, and, that other Thieves Guild, they got nothing on you guys. And that was the pitfall? Immediately, fuck you, get out of here. I don't even want to hear about them.
I have an offer for you. I'm going to give you 10 daggers. Oh, that sounds so generous. Hold on, you didn't let me finish.
Initiative. I like the promise of the system.
I think that this could turn into something that is it's already something that is very modularly adaptable into other systems. Mm-hmm. That's what I love about it right now. I feel that given time and given interest, it could turn into something that is even better for this system, but it's not currently a part of this system.
No, it's like a rider.
Yeah, it's like here's a fun kit bash of rules that you can use to make a big NPC interaction fun. But it doesn't tell me anything besides skill tests for how to actually do this. And the rules for the game, as they've shown us so far, do not speak to it.
Yeah. It's going to be fun making those connections in the playtest. even though it is an adventure, and we're not going to talk about that because that's spoilers. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to go into the creature stat blocks. We do have characters, though.
We do.
So we're at that point. Yeah. Which one would you like to start with?
Oh, let's start with the talent, shall we? We have the high elf talent.
Why would you say that?
Oh, I don't know. Because the talent is now available from MCDM as it now. Anyway. It is the psionic class, and it is flavored as a scion, and it is about the most sore thumb of the core classes as I can think of to look at and see. Because psionics are always weird, and to put them into a system before you put the actual magic into a system, ballsy. I'm going to be honest.
That's a choice. That's a choice.
They're saying, we like this already where it is better than we like spell casting. I
believe, and don't quote me because it can change, I believe one of the casters was going to be some sort of elementalist. Mm-hmm. And they're not here yet.
No, they're not. Something that I will say, just to go over this quick, because I did eat the lunch of all of these skill trees at the same time. Sure. You see as a breakdown, and I only have these available on the screen right now. I have them in their non-formatted form, because formatted would look kind of garbage on the screen.
It wouldn't work.
So you get your health, your healing value, which is 1/3 of your health rounded down. You have your bloodied value, which is half. You have your total number of recoveries. You have your size, which is important. And I did not.
Yes.
There was something I wanted to mention about size. Oh crap.
Oh yeah.
Can we go back? Hold on. There was a thing, and I don't remember where it is. If you could.
I didn't even mention size. Oh sure, yeah, I got you.
Size is very important as a rider because it said something very funny to me when it came to size and weight, and I'm trying to remember where it is.
Here we go. Maybe page 18. I have the chart of weight there.
Yeah. So, do you notice what caught my eye? I want to see if you know me, Charles, on this one particularly.
Well, I haven't even really paid attention to this, but
okay. So I'll just
the first thing. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you go ahead, please, by all means.
Why is a horse 2x1?
Because.
I mean, yeah, but I don't know. I don't like that.
Because it would look.
But that's okay.
Because it would look weird for it to be 2x2.
Yeah, I know.
That's a heckin' chunk of a horse, but
it's true.
So creature and objects for weights. They do some very interesting stuff to say. Here's a weighting scale, and the weighting scale goes to 11.
Yep.
It's 1 is a pixie or potato, 2 is a house cat or mall, 3, which thank you, malls are not as heavy as people think they are. But also, it makes me think about wielding a house cat. 3 is a polder or heavy armor. 4 is a human or a wardrobe. So humans sit at size 4. You have a Memenek at 5, which I don't know what that is, but an anvil's pretty heavy. You have an ogre at 6 with a carriage sitting right next to it. You have a treant and a sailboat at 7, stone giant siege tower at 8, dragon galley at 9, and then a Gogzamak, which I can only assume is one of his demon lords, or a keep.
I would guess so, yeah.
At weight 10. But my favorite thing is at weight 11, where weight 11 plus example creature is none, but example object is too heavy to lift, which implies you can lift a keep at some point.
Yep. Fair. I mean, kingdoms and warfare, strongholds and followers, and you just make a stronghold and throw it at somebody.
I'm strong enough to lift a stronghold at some point in this game. That is what this playtest has promised me, and I will be very put out if I am not given that.
You want to do that with your mind as the talent?
Well, I mean, let's be fair. It looks like talents are a pushy-pulley boy or girl, or they. It is absolutely a class set to reason, obviously int reason as their spell stat, and then endurance. And the reason they give a reason, is because their heroic resource is strain, and strain is very interesting.
Yeah, because it's the crunchiest thing in this whole playtest.
It is the crunchiest thing in this playtest, and I'm pretty sure you cannot reduce it without a full rest.
Yeah, I think so.
The stated objective of MCDM and Matt Colville and James Introcaso is forecasters, they don't want to give them spell slots. They want to give them banking against themselves, essentially. Every time that you want to use an ability and upcharge it or do anything, you get to roll a d4 against the order of magnitude of that ability. If you match or beat it on the d4, and so we have some order 2 abilities here. We have one order 3 ability called Flay. These are our heroic powers. You roll the die against it. You have a good chance of beating a 2, a decent chance of beating a 3. I can't wait to see what a 4 looks like.
Yeah, what is that?
And you either beat it, you match it, at which point I think you gain 1 strain.
1 strain, yep.
Or you fail it, for which you gain all of the strain.
There's an option, just to say, if you saw that the strain is going to be bad, alternatively, you can choose not to manifest the power and become dazed until the end of your next turn. You can be like, I'm gonna, I'm not gonna, and oh, yep, that hurt my brain, but you know what? That would have killed me, so I'm better off.
That's very good, because otherwise every single talent would murder themselves after 3 fights.
Explode.
Now, so here's the thing. You get 3 separate exhaustion trees as the talent.
So crunchy.
Every time that you get a strain, you can choose to put it into body, mind, or spirit. All of them having very unique fuck yous in them as the trees go down. So you are slowly going to be filling in these trees and seeing how low you can get yourself before you actually are completely just useless.
Yeah. I love it.
I love it too. I'm only concerned because it sounded like this was something they were also going to try to do for the Elementalist, and I don't see how they do that.
Yeah, other than feedback.
Yeah. However, if they manage to pull into the Elementalist feng shuiing the elements around it, like the one character class that I told you I wanted to make into a game at some point, Charles, where you have a zone and it has X element in abundance, but as you use it, it decreases. And you add in other elements to the zone, essentially, and basically make the balance work around. If they did
can use it.
I have to give them all my money. It's the rules. They did the thing I wanted.
That's it. That's all.
Yeah.
And, there are a couple ways to remove strain, right?
Yeah.
Which push you. I love that it's just push, right? Removing strain. Each time you earn a victory, you remove 1 strain from one of your counters.
Yeah.
When you spend a recovery, you can remove 1 strain for each recovery instead of regaining health.
I hadn't read that. I missed that on the thing, but oh my god, it's...
Oh. Yeah, right? You're like, I can't take another strain. Yeah. I have to use my recovery on this.
But so let's see what costs you, right? Because you have some interesting powers here, and let's start with just the regular stuff. You have... just like everybody has, you either have an offensive or a defensive triggered action. Theirs is a defensive triggered action. A creature makes an attack against you or an ally within 11 squares. Huge distance. I don't think it needs to be that much.
I think it's because of the plus to distance from their kit.
Oh, right. Okay, so that makes sense.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So because of the distance on the kit, you damage your ally takes is reduced by an impact die +3.
Nice.
Interesting use of the D8 here. Shame that it's basically a cure 1, so you're gonna roll a lot of 1s through 4s on that and be very disappointed. But it doesn't it doesn't have any opportunity cost except for the triggered action. Your telekinetic strike is your BA attack, your basic ass attack. It is distance 11, target 1 creature object, damage 2d6 +3. That's all it does. Then you have your signature powers, which are concussive slam. You slide a target 3 squares. Again, slide in any direction, not vertical.
Bye.
Or you have the next attack made against you before the start of your turn has its damage reduced by 3, and you deal corruption damage to the target, basically poisoning them. Energy Siphon is something that you have the ability to do, and it deals corruption damage, and it... Target 1 creature or object, by the way. It seems like most things are creature or object for these sorts of maneuvers, or these sorts of actions. I need to be careful saying maneuver now. But then we have our first interesting basic action, which is telekinesis. Target one willing creature or unattended object with a weight of 3 or less. Worth noting that a weight of 3, I do believe, is 1 less than the weight of a human.
Yes, it is.
So you can only pick up a kitty cat to like a greyhound.
Yeah.
You toss the target up to 3 squares. Toss. Our favorite forced movement, the one that can go in any direction.
Yeah.
On subsequent turns, you can use a maneuver to toss the target the same distance. So it's concentration.
Yep.
If you end this forced movement with the target in midair, you choose to let them fall and leave them hanging while you maintain this power. Now, I'm sad that it says one willing creature, obviously, but I understand why.
I'm sure higher levels will get into that.
At the gain of 1...
I would guess.
Yeah. By gaining 1 strain, you are granted the ability to increase the weight increment by 1, bringing it to human-sized.
Yep.
So that's your move your friend around, get them out of the way of bad stuff, do whatever you want with a push.
I mean, why not just take 9 strain?
I don't know if they let you increment it like that, but gosh,
I don't think so. Funny. I think it all has to go into 1 per each time. I don't think that you can. But it's funny if you can.
Yeah. So then we have all of our heroic powers. Heroic powers are for the talent seem to be essentially AoE attacks. You have single target stuff for your basic actions. I'm not going to go too hard into these because they're all just different way, shape, or flavor of multi-creature targeting attacks. They all
one
deal,
of them can daze them.
Yeah, it's daze with damage, or you can slow them without damage, or you can do a regular amount of damage, your 2d6 plus 3, for each enemy within a 3 cube within 5 squares. So that's your mini fireball, which seems pretty freaking strong.
Yeah, pretty damn good. And I will mention that slow is a bit stronger in this game because you can only be moved up to your speed, which was halved by the by. So that could be very useful for a battlefield controller.
Also worth noting, they are one of the offensive classes when it comes to their victories, is what I'm going to categorize it as. When they deal damage, they deal extra damage equal to their victories once per encounter. And when you force move a target, my favorite ability of theirs, when you force move a target with a power, you can move them an extra number of squares equal to your victory. This is the kick them through the door with your mind.
Yep.
Or, a wall. Depends on how many victories you have, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I want someone to do is be in the tavern brawl and toss someone straight up through the floor into the next, into like an in room.
Can't be vertical.
That's right.
You could toss.
Well, you can toss. Yeah.
Now, see, the problem is that the toss has the rider of it has to be a willing creature.
Yeah, that's true. But I'm pretty sure at higher level, you got to be able to toss people.
That said, man, I tell you what, you could certainly toss an object of weight 4.
Oh, yeah, straight through.
That's no longer a person anymore.
Yeah. Yep. That'd be amazing.
All bets are off. Time to slam them through the ground.
Yeah, I think the only other things that I wanted to say about this are your maximum strain. There is a maximum. It is endurance plus victories. That's why they have endurance. So at the beginning, the maximum is 3, endurance plus 0.
And I did want to mention, it looks like it's, at least for these kits, it is 3-2-1 Fizz, 3-2-1 Brain.
Yes, it does look like that. That must be maybe the standard array. One would assume.
If it's not the standard array, it's certainly what they have on each of them, and they have meaningful differences between them because of it, which is nice. You also have a grapple knockback TN, which they're going to eventually just give up and call that the combat maneuver bonus. But
yep, most likely, yeah. I think one more thing is that it has a kit that has not been listed anywhere before.
Right.
Or at least here, it's the Ward Weaver. So it is a kit. Remember, kits are your armor and weapon and a special ability. No, we do see their kit attack. it's Energy Siphon because it says attack kit psionic.
Yeah, yeah. Energy Siphon is theirs. Yeah,
so that's cool. Their weapon is an orb. That's what they picked. They get 11 health from this kit, so it must be pretty ward since it's a supernatural ward, and 11 health is quite a bit. 1 speed and 6 distance on things. No extra damage though.
Which
none.
I mean, none because I mean it's the warding one, so I would have imagined that I guess the warding just comes from the Energy Siphon making them deal less damage. So and that is a signature power, but it does not look like it states that it's once per encounter.
Yeah, that's very strange.
So
like nothing here says that. So I don't know. It was a little weird there.
I think this might be one of those things where we've already seen a slight change from where the kits were when they showed us that nicely laid out screen, and then now that we're actually at a point where this stuff got into the playtest, I think they did quite a bit of extensive kit study, and maybe it is that you just get an extra at will. Let's call it.
So the ancestry, just to talk about ancestries, this is your ancestry in D&D. Are you an elf? Are you a human? Are you a whatever? Look at MCDM's humans. They're kind of interesting, or at least the trappings around them are. Usually they're the most boring.
They're very much the ones that he's alluded to multiple times. They can smell ozone.
Yeah, they can feel the magic because they aren't magical. But this high elf, the things that they get, just to give you an idea of what ancestry might get you, and there are some cool ones. Protected Mind, you gain 1 boon on Reason, Intuition, and Presence resistance rolls. Makes sense. That's cool. 1d4 on resisting those things. Pretty damn good from an ancestry, honestly. High Elf Glamour, you can magically alter your appearance and words to better impress and persuade others. You gain +1 boon to Charm, which is nice for your negotiation. Because you got a boon on your charm when you try and do it. That's cool.
Just free. So you get that plus whatever you get from your actual skill, potentially.
Yep. So you're rolling. You're rolling pretty well there. And the last one is Draining Magic. I love this one. When another creature within 20 squares of you, 20 squares, makes a resistance roll or a saving throw, you force them to do it with 2 Banes, -2d4. You can use this benefit once per encounter. That might actually be
too much.
Yeah, that's a bit. I mean, it's once per encounter, so it makes me think of the kit attack, but it's not. I don't know.
So maybe that's what they did with kit attacks, or kit once per encounters. They rolled them into ancestries.
Ancestry? Could that be weird? I don't know. Because we don't have a high elf ancestry just of itself, so we don't know.
Yeah.
And each one of these are different ancestry, so we couldn't see a second one to see if it had it.
Yeah.
That's basically it for the talent, right?
That is basically it for the talent. I will say that so far we've seen a lot of things which are generate a bunch of resource to then blow it on things. And the way that you're rewarded for your victories is by making it so that you start the encounter with that. That's the case for, I believe, Rage, Focus, the Shadow's Intuition, I think is what it's called. And then I know the Conduit also, maybe they get they don't get Wrath, but they do get Virtue.
Yeah. So, to talk about just the classes that we have, just to talk about what they are, we saw the talent, or we talked about the talent. That's the Psionicist, damagey, battlefield control-y, hurting yourself a lot with strain.
It certainly lives up psionically to be in the weird one of all of these things, because a lot of them fit in a similar-ish box when it comes to their resource, and then the Scions over here just hurting themselves.
Yep. Then we have the Tactician, which might be the one that they've talked about the most, just because
it's Matt's favorite.
Yes. And it's not a crib of the Warlord from 4th edition. It's not. Kind of is.
My brother in Christ, he literally has positioning strike.
I know. But the tactician is your fighty fighter, but you're more about tactics. You're more about telling people what to do, inspiring people, having them shift, being a tank, all that stuff.
I would love to actually bash on this more, but I have a real soft spot in my heart for a dude who's might 3, reason 3, so honestly, I'm gonna let it slide.
Does it make you think of a samurai?
No, well, no, it actually harkens back to the freaking needing 13 for combat expertise.
Fair,
a lot of people forget about. You couldn't be a dumb fighter. You had to be a bad at talking fighter.
So, yeah, they have the Shining Armor. And I will say right now that the Shining Armor kit that we were shown, if I look at it, has the ability to lead the charge.
Yep.
And this dude does not have it.
No, he doesn't.
Nope. So, yeah, kits are weird.
His kit action is positioning strike. And it is an at-will.
Yeah, it's very weird. But
and
it is
gain 1 focus too, which is weird actually for a kit.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know why it has kit in there.
It's a signature stratagem. That's why.
Yeah.
But
yeah. So I guess it could be both. I don't know. But yeah, you gain focus, and tacticians gain focus during battle to use it on things. Making people shift or healing people, or at least inducing them to use a recovery, parrying better, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So that's a tactician.
It is very good, and I like it a lot. I am a big fan of Hammer and Anvil. It reminds me of whatever that Raven Strike thing we used to get was.
Oh, sure, yeah. Man.
It's okay.
I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, it induces someone else to make an attack, too.
Yeah, it's great, and it's so much fun to be able to smack someone, and then tell your friend to also smack someone, and then maybe one or both of you crit, and you can hit someone again, and then it's good times. And I'm a big fan. I also love, again, having a system where as you are fighting in the fight, you get more and more of your ability. Because like on your first fight, you're probably going to end the fight with inspiring attack if somebody needs a recovery, which they likely will.
Yeah, most likely.
So you're going to get that, and then you're going to have 1, and then you're going to have 2, and then you're going to have 3, and then it gets better.
Yeah. I absolutely love everything about the tactician, I think. And I've seen a slightly higher level one. And
is that the I think I have that one actually too, because I pulled a lot of the MCDM like kit stuff. The tactician here, which is advancing strike, advancing attack, leading strike, double trouble.
Yeah, which might just be hammer and anvil now.
I think that is. Oh yeah, because all this stuff is verse armor, which is not even a thing anymore.
Yeah, not even anymore.
So that's hammer and anvil forward, which again looks like it's kind of gone away.
That kit.
And then ultimate attack was move as 1, which is each ally within 10 of you can move up to their speed and gains 2 boons on attacks.
Oof. That's nice.
Yeah.
So that's the tactician. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say, I don't know if we're going to ever see this one again, because this one had 12 health.
Yeah, it was very wild.
Yeah.
It's been a long road this last year almost since they really started in earnest.
Yeah, and again, I'm just gonna put that out there. The old version of a more kitted up tactician had 12 health, and then they increased all the health for everything because they completely changed the underlying system of the game when it came to the recoveries and also having an armor class versus not, because I think their armor was soak essentially.
Yeah, it was. I think so.
So, nothing's precious, which is good because it's good design to not for them to get rid of their special dice. Truly shows how committed they are to actually making a better game than a unique game. Which
exactly,
the game should be better because having unique mechanics should fall to the wayside of having good
shit that works. Yeah,
shit that works and shit that is more memorable, honestly. Like, plus 2d6 is just a good system. It is.
Yeah. So the other ones to round this out is the Fury. It is a barbarian.
Yep.
It's a little bit different in that it loses rage at the end of the encounter nowadays.
Yeah.
At the start of each round, you get 1d4. You spend it on stuff, but if you have rage in the tank, you get benefits. So if you have 3 rage, you have immunity 3. Everything that hits you does 3 less damage. Nice.
Yeah.
6 rage, you gain 1 boon on every melee weapon attack. So 1d4 on everything you do. Enjoy.
Yeah. It's really
and then
a
9
lot.
rage. If you're holding on to 9 rage, your speed increases by 2. Currently, their speed is 7.
Yeah.
Because they get 1 from their kit. So that'll be 9. That's fast.
Yeah. For reference, talents are 7s, tacticians are 6. Usually the speed is based off of your kit more so than your character. I do believe that the baseline speed was set at 6.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'll tell you something wild about the orc ancestry, though. The one thing that I will say is that they have an ability called Bloodfire Rush. When you take damage, your speed increases by 2 until the end of your next turn. Do I have +4? Do I have 11 speed? All right. We fast as fuck, boy. That's cool. It's just how ancestries and classes mix together.
By the way, you could always just force movement into somebody.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you can use your regular movement to do that.
I think you'd have to do like.
Still.
Yeah. So that's the Fury. It's a barbarian. It had some interesting shit. Conduit is very interesting. It is your cleric, and the main thing, because it's a cleric. It heals people. It does stuff. They're
also a paladin, basically.
Resource. Yeah, right. They are both. They really are, because they have virtue and wrath as their resource. I'm still some things spend virtue. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm still listening. Please continue.
Okay. Some things spend virtue, some things spend wrath. Damage obviously is wrath, healing is virtue, right? The way you get this, though, is that your signature abilities allow you to roll for resources on the prayer table, quote unquote. It's cool. Right now, there's only one. There's a table, you roll a d6, and it tells you how much virtue or wrath you got. Eventually, the table will change based on the god you worship. Is there more wrath than virtue because of an angry god? Maybe. So when you roll, there might be more wrath on this table. So your god can directly affect your resources, which can directly affect how you play. I like that. That's very cool. For example, here, prayer table for them off the bat. If you roll a 1 on a d6, when you do this, you get 2 wrath. If you roll 2 through 5, you get 1 of each, virtue and wrath. If you roll a 6, you get 2 virtue.
Yep.
That's it. And you're getting to roll that every time you use a signature ability. So if you...
Man, Force and Destiny, I didn't expect to see you in my MCDM game, but it's good to see you again, buddy. This is literally a Force die.
It is. Because he was talking about the Conduit being the one that was the closest to Edge of the Empire.
But I will say this. What I did there for a second, I don't know if you saw me being cheeky, but I walked over with my box 5 of Red Dragon Inn and just kind of showed it off on the camera a little bit. I'm not as much a fan of Serena the character, but she certainly has some interesting mechanics. And this is Serena plus Force die.
Yep, exactly.
And
it's very cool.
They've made no bones about being big fans of the Red Dragon Inn in their office. And honestly, when it comes to having well written and well thought out systems put into place for things, I'm a big fan of the simplicity, but also the flow of games like Red Dragon Inn. And I feel that when I'm looking at the design for this, which, I mean, you can't help but be an amalgamation of every game you've ever played. If you are a designer or a maker of something, it's just whatever you ingest is what you have available to regurgitate. If you want to get better at understanding how to make something, you see a bunch of things that are made and you find what you love in them and you go forward. That's how creation works. If you're an artist, look at art. If you're a writer, read books. If you're someone who does voice talent or acting, you watch other people and you pick and choose what you like from things. If you run games, try to watch other people run games.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's such a really interesting combination, the Conduit, and I think it's going to make more people play the cleric-y paladin. I just think on the 10, all of the healing stuff is just not a problem for you. Like, your heal is a free maneuver.
Yeah.
It's a free maneuver.
Here's the thing. I complained about free maneuvers because I think they're clunky currently in the way the system works. We don't talk about Mike Merles much these days, but for everything you can say about his managing stratagem and how he handled internal issues with the Dungeons and Dragons group, he was a very clean designer, and he hated bonus actions. He hated conditionally available actions because they were clunky. And I do feel like a free maneuver is clunky. However, I don't see you wanting to spend your maneuver on a heal.
Yes.
I get it.
I don't see it. Like, and you could do it with damage, but if there's nobody to do damage to, then healing, you can't. I'm not going to go up to him and heal him or hit him to heal my friend. Yeah. Like, I might with the range that they have, but I just think the Conduit's cool. Its kit, just as a note, adds 1 to the resistance target number for every ability or every effect that they give to someone. So instead of people having to roll a 10, they have to roll an 11.
Ooh, where do you see
cool. That? In the kit. There's health plus 11 speed, range, and resistance TN. And I only know that that's to resisting your effects because it was talked about in the kit video. Like, yeah, we're even going to have stuff that makes you, more likely to hit with your abilities, but no damage.
Because TN's the baseline, or 10's the baseline, isn't it?
Yep, 10's the baseline. Wow. So that's why it has 11 on everything. Yep.
Okay. So you've done a very good amount of reverse engineering, Charles. Not that I'm surprised.
That's cool, because that I think a lot of casters or controllers might want in their kit. But since you can change it, you might want it for some things, and then other things you're like, no, give me that damage, man.
And what's the kit name for this one? Does it list it or no?
Priest?
Oh, so that might be a specific kit too. That might be of those.
Yeah, it says Priest type caster, armor medium, which is why they have 11 health, and their weapon/implement is a tome. So
yeah, I really do like this. I love the fact that this is one of your emergent storytelling through mechanics things that you love so much. I know that about you, and the idea that as you're rolling these d6s over and over in this particular encounter, you go, I see, that's how I'm feeling. Oh, okay, very wrathful, aren't I, today? Something must have pissed me off about this encounter. What is it, I wonder? It gives you a nice little thing.
It's very mad.
Yeah, it gives you a nice little thing to grip onto. And it also is, as far as I understand it, very reminiscent of, I think it was the Crusader from the Book of Swords.
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Where you would draw 3, pick 1.
Yep, exactly.
So it's got that nice cool. random juice to it, where it's like, well, I can use Wrath or I can use Virtue, but right now I've got a lot of Wrath, so
I'm all out of Virtue. So yeah, that's cool. The last one is the Shadow. This is the Rogue, but this
is the coolest one. Let's be honest. This is the coolest one. That's why I wanted to do it. Nailed the most. It is absolutely so sick.
It's so damn good.
I've listened to Dale Kingsmill just running up and down a tree talking about how much she enjoyed this class. It is you have your speed is 9 default. The kit just gives you 1,000,000 speed. You have the lowest recoveries. You have some of the lowest HP, but you have the most damage.
Yeah. Yes, you do, and you teleport.
And you have insight. And the reason you want insight is because if you have 5 insight, you can murder somebody. Literally, the name of it is assassinate. It is.
Yeah, it's
just big.
Yeah. 2d6, 2d8, and a 6.
Yeah. Well, 5 here,
10.
But yeah.
Oh, it's 5 there. Okay. So it's close to 10.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Already.
Yeah, that's 10.
Oh my
minimum.
God. Yeah. Right. And if you have boons,
you gain an insight. Whenever you use a signature attack, you gain 1 insight. Whenever you make an attack with at least 1 boon, you gain 1 insight. And when you start a combat encounter, you have insight equal to your victories. That is terrifying.
Really scary.
Like,
I mean, whew.
there is such a thing as we were talking about very early on in this, where we were talking about going Nova on turn 1 against a boss. This is the character that's going to do that. This is the character that's just going to be like, oh, cool, it's my turn. I start.
Yeah.
Or, oh, it's not my turn to start. That's okay. Not... Hesitation is weakness.
That's the ability that I want to talk about first, honestly, other than Assassinate, because Assassinate is just murder you.
It is the coolest ability that exists. Please.
You remember how initiative works?
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
If you've been here for a while,
yeah.
The whole show, I don't know how long it's been, 3 hours? Fine.
1 and 1. We're at 3.
Yeah. But everybody on what, you pick which side goes first, and then someone picks to go, and then the other side picks to go.
It's a fair and balanced game, and it's honest is what I love about it. You always get 1, and then 1, and then 1, and then 1.
Yeah. Unless your shadow goes. Hesitation is weakness. And takes their turn at the end of another hero's turn, just because it's a free triggered action. I just take my turn now. I'm next. Not the other side. Me. I'm next.
The combo potential on this is disgusting.
Absolutely crazy. I mean, that's going to be so much fun. I mean, their triggered action is super cool. It's entitled In All This Confusion.
Yeah. The
trigger is someone attacks you. The effect, you teleport up to 3 squares, have the attack damage. If you this is what I see, at least. If you teleport out of the attack's range, the attack damage is reduced by another 1d6 plus 3.
Yeah.
Is that what you're seeing too?
Yeah, it's a 1d. Sorry, my earbuds are getting mad at me now. So
oh no, it's all good.
I might have to swap over in a second, but I'm not going to do it right now. And in fact, that might have been what fucked us up on our last broadcast. It might have been that I switched to my
maybe. Okay, so we could figure that out. But we could go quick anyway, because the Shadow's good. If you have access to it, read it. It's a very interesting class. Like, In All This Confusion's great. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's In All This Confusion. Protected Mind, which gains you resistance. Well, these are Wood Elf, sorry.
Yeah.
In All This Confusion, you get Shadow Strike, which is your basic attack, but +6. You get a +6 to your damage on this class, just default. And I think I need to impress upon people where most people would look at a +6 and be like, that's a pretty standard bonus to a damage if you're playing like a D&D. No, this is powered by Apocalypse dice. +6 is a whole D6 max.
Yeah.
That is the riders on the damage in this game are going to be enormously more important than they are in D&D. Because 2d6, I mean, that's a great sword.
Yeah.
But
Assassinate. Go ahead.
Yeah, but a +6, you have to remember that you're never missing.
Yes. There's no miss. Even your chance hit is +6.
Yeah.
Like,
it's crazy.
And that's because of your kit. Your kit gave you +3 damage, which is the highest of all, because, you have lesser range, you don't have a lot of health, your speed goes up and your damage goes up because you're in and out. You can teleport. You can just teleport as a maneuver for free.
Yeah.
In 3 squares, and you can hide.
Well, wait, where's the teleport? Hold on, I missed it.
Black Ash teleport.
Yeah. And you can
a maneuver.
Increase it for each insight. And by the way, you might want to do that because I'm guessing that there's going to be some kit strikes or some strikes that are involved in the Shadow kit that are for every square you teleported deal X damage.
Yeah.
That's going to come up.
You know it. They're shifting all over the place. They're teleporting. Their victories can be turned into extra squares for teleporting. Right? You deal extra damage to go to your victory.
You get Fade, which is basically free disengage.
Yeah.
Or engage, however you want. You can dive into someone or dive out.
Yeah. I love the combination of I work better alone, which is their ability that is, if no allies are adjacent to the target, the attack gains 1 boon,
Yeah.
gain 1 insight. Well, no, you gain 2 insight because you have a boon and it's a signature ability. So if you can get your friends to isolate people and you just keep poking them and shifting to the next isolated person, you can get that 5 insight in a couple of rounds.
Yeah. And not to mention, in all this confusion, is an amazing repositioning tool.
Oh, yeah. Goad that attack and then go where you want.
Yeah, exactly. It's so good.
It's so good. I can't wait for someone, like, the row's gonna die. The shadow's gonna die. But in all this confusion, and also, my friend parried. It was halved, then reduced by 1d6 plus 3 if I used it. Then it's halved again because they can parry for you. Like, there's going to be a lot of, like, hero moments of glory.
Yeah.
Which, to me, is exactly what those 4 words mean, right? Giving every hero a chance to be that person who shifted the tides of battle. It's great.
Not to mention, let's talk about the fact that if you have a dwarf, you have a tactician and a fury both at the same time.
Yeah.
Or a tactician with anybody, like I think the shadow also is that is one thing I will say. The victorious abilities of these classes tend to burn down to add +1 to X, and a lot of them is damage or you know. But
your
for the
special
tactician,
thing.
Your special thing is adding damage to your friend, who can add damage to themselves, and then they hit something for an entire truckload of damage, which is insane.
Yeah. An assassinate is going to average with these rolls, average 20. You just bloodied yourself.
Yeah.
That's what Elf Shadow in 1 hit. Ow. Gee. And if you have any victory, that's just flat extra damage. I mean, victories go up to 10 right now, which makes sense. If somehow you were cruising with 6, 2d6 plus 2d8 plus 12, are you kidding me?
It's so much. And again, it's the damage numbers in this game are going to be much more meaningful than the bonus damage numbers in this game are going to be much more meaningful than in other games. Not to mention, when you give someone an encounter bonus like this, you don't disincentivize them from using it. You make them want to use it. In fact, I could see players just using this right off the cuff every single time. There's no reason really not to. I do think, apparently, I thought that there was something with the shadow that I heard about in playtest where it's when you kill someone, you gain insight.
Oh, yeah. I think that was when it was called Doom or something.
Yeah, when it was Doom. But I think that's gone now, which is a shame.
Yeah, I
but
think
also,
so.
I kind of appreciate it because it's one of those things where it, like, really encouraged KSing. And
yeah. Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that one way or the other.
Yeah, it depends on the group, you know. And I don't think that you should shave off any of the roughness to deal with bad groups, because if you have a bad group, fix it. You can talk to people. You can make it better. So you shouldn't codify it in the game. However, you shouldn't incentivize it either.
Yeah, you shouldn't incentivize one player to get all the kills. That's
no way.
A lot of what they've been doing to sand down this game is removing the mechanics that make trap play styles. Like you were saying, negative patterns or dark patterns?
Yeah.
You'd want to make sure that you don't encourage someone to always be the person to do the one thing, because that can be obnoxious. Having them get stuff on boons, cool. Having them do they get an insight just gratis when they start their turn, or
no.
The tactician
and they
does.
go back
they
to
just
0
get
at the end of
focus every round.
Yeah.
And then they get it additionally for doing any of their signature stratagems. So
yeah, it's only when they use their signature attack or when they attack someone when they have a boon.
Yeah.
So But both of those stack, like we said.
All of this works delightfully well amongst itself. The only thing that I would say is that not enough people are smacking people through things for my liking yet.
Sure.
The Fury does a great job. The Talent does a great job. I don't know who else is going to be the people to do that. It seems like the tactician tells other people to smack people through things, and the Shadow's just murdering them.
The class I cannot wait for, and you know what it is, James.
I would imagine it's the element. No, the Elementalist.
Well, I like the Elementalist, but he's going to make a monk.
See,
and the monk is called the... It's called the Null.
Oh, that's
because it's anti-magic.
Right, no.
It's just literally anti-everything. I don't want magic. I don't want psionics. I am the anti-you. I don't know how that's going to work, but that might be interesting.
The funny thing to me is that as I look at these classes, I would codify the Shadow as the monk currently.
Sure, yeah. I can see that, yeah.
Just because it's very much this... I'm a positioning monster and I can get wherever I want on the battlefield. And that is what current monk looks like in games that we play.
It's true. I'm just really excited for the possibility of a new style of monk because we sorely need it. I mean, Wizards noticed that we sorely need it and they're addressing it in ways. And it's better than it was.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I just want more monks. That's what I want.
I can understand that. Yeah, I forgot that the Null was a thing. Now, I do think they did say it might not be core, right?
It might not be core. It might be in another of the books, which is fine.
We also are potentially
I can wait for that.
An Iron Man, which could be fun. And
yes,
it sounded like they were maybe going to do an Illrigger for this. I would be surprised if they didn't.
Yeah.
And I think the Beast Heart is already absolutely core.
Yeah, it should be if it's not. Yeah, so we got these 5, which count as core. There's 5, there's 5 of them. I would guess that we probably have 4 or 5 more. Beast Heart, maybe the Operator, maybe the Null, definitely the Elementalist. They said that there will be an Archer type, or maybe it might just be a kit.
Yeah,
but
I think
they think that Archers are more.
Going to be a type of Tactician, I would have to guess.
Right, I would guess that too. But yeah, so we have more classes to look forward to. I think that there's just so much already that they can build on with victories. I think we're going to see a very unique Elementalist and a very unique monk at the very least. I don't know how the Operator is going to work, but I have not looked forward, but I believe that there might be an NPC operator or enemy in the playtest, so that might be interesting to see what they have.
I will say for this, as far as I'm seeing, if we're doing closing thoughts right now,
sure, yeah. Oh yeah, it's late over there.
It's a little late. I'm not really worried about that so much as I'm worried about playing around with sound stuff if this earbud dies.
Oh sure, yeah.
Exactly. This system, for most games, I look forward to an encounter. This is the first time I've looked at a system and been looking forward to an encountering day.
Right.
And I think that says something about what they've made here, because it makes you think, rather than having the, once I get to level this, I'll have this. You're like, once I'm 3 fights in, man, it's over.
Yeah. I could do this all day.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't because I'm out of recoveries because everything hits so hard and I don't have mitigation really. And that's another thing is like the incentivization against not taking damage in this game rather than healing is big. And you see it in every single build. Every single build has like either you hit me, I'm going to hit you back harder, or it has a teleport away, or it has a parry, or it has a shield. They all have these things that are like, I need to make sure that I am removed from damage in some way, shape, or form successfully. But even with all of that, we need to get this game to table, because I don't think I can tell exactly how hard hitting this game is.
Yes.
But from everything I'm looking at, it looks like your HP is just going to be swinging wildly. I can't imagine players getting through an encounter without having to use at least, I would venture at least 3 recoveries per encounter in party total.
If you're a front, I was going to say, more on the frontliners, but party total, I agree. Yeah. I definitely agree. Now you can gamify that and use less and try and use them in the next battle, but Action Economy says you better use it.
Yeah, Action Economy says use your recoveries while you're out of combat, because you don't want to, if you're lower than 1/3 damage, you want to use a recovery, especially out of combat, but certainly in combat if you're still in the mix of things. I would be interested to see a defend option that let you use recoveries too, because there is sort of a thing for that in Lancer. Lancer has what is essentially recoveries. They're much more limited, but you have like 4 health bars as a Lancer robot, and then you can replenish one of those with one of your recoveries in that game. But I think when you do that, there are certain mechs or certain incentives that make it so that you are also resistant after you do that.
Right.
I'd be interested to see something do that in this system to more incentivize, like a pseudo defend recovery.
I could see it with, and there is no mechanism for this, but a temporary HP. Like if you induce someone, like if you induce someone's recovery, it gives half the value in temporary HP or something like that. Yeah. Like that would be interesting. I don't know that that'll work, but
I would be too worried with them starting to give overhealing, just because like the system wants you to lose HP, and I appreciate that, because a lot of times in D&D, your players are incentivized to make builds that make it so they don't lose their hit points
at all ever.
Whether that's a blade singer with 28 AC functional, or whether that is the fighter with full plate and barbarian rage, or well, not barbarian rage, but like they can use reckless and they can do all these other things, but with 22 AC, what do they give? They don't give a fuck.
Well, it doesn't matter.
And so there's all these different like tricks to bigger systems, and I think this system is very much, it knows what it's about, and like we said at the beginning, it knows that it's supposed to be cinematic, and I think that cinematic, the part of it is big hits. So you're going to be taking a clock for like 15 health from from a mook, not a mook, because they do have minions in this game, which is worth mentioning. MCDM likes minions, and they do have them codified in the enemy stat blocks. But
they die in a hit, they do a D4.
This game is very much that enemy's going to point at you, and rather than you being like, well, my AC is this, is going to be like, cool, you take 12 damage. Well, I only have 40 of that. Better get on that.
Well, you better get busy not dying.
Do you have a parry or something you want to use as your reaction? I wanted to hit someone with my reaction. I know you do, but I assume you also want all this HP to stay inside you.
Yes.
So you should
keep the HP inside you. I think that's really about it. The only thing that I will mention is there are magical weapons. There's one in the Patreon. No, not Patreon. The backer kit. And the way that it works, just to talk about, it is a blade, but it can be a light, medium, or heavy weapon. If your kit says you have a light, medium, or heavy weapon, you could have this, but in that version. So the Blade of Quintessence is a light, medium, or heavy weapon, but it can be yours if you're using a dagger or a greatsword. Doesn't really matter. Might be a problem with loot goblins, but we'll see. Once again, don't try to design that out. That's the table's problem, not yours. As a designer.
Forever and always, magic items are always the problem of those who enable them in the first place.
Sure.
It's
absolutely.
You don't have to give the players a +1 sword. Nobody said you have to. Also, something worth noting in this system, I don't see much in the way of resistance to non-magical or anything like that, and I certainly don't really see damage types, except for in very specific instances. Probably because the kits come with different weapons. Maybe the weapons are going to deal damage types, but it doesn't seem like they're terribly concerned about it. Hits are hits. Hit points are hit points.
There's some that are like fire, corruption, and poison, and you can get immunity to those. But that's about it. I think there were only 5 or 6 elements that were mentioned. I don't know if it's mentioned in the playtest, but I do remember it being mentioned. Might be in.
Oh wow, and it's a virtue for that You know what? The free maneuver heal is because it costs a virtue. That makes sense. Because
Yeah.
you're not always going to have virtue.
Yeah, exactly. It's just all right, well, I got it, and I can help you, so here you go. I don't know, I kind of would love to see a class who could give you their recoveries, but that's a little...
If you do that, then that's going to be
Yeah.
the token backliner that someone has to
Mm-hmm.
bring.
Everyone. So yeah, let's...
I mean, I'm already looking at this this conduit going, just being able to free use a recovery, huh? That's pretty strong in a system where HP is very, very, very important.
Yep. So. And the cool thing is, it's every virtue you spend. So this is a way for them to get multiple recoveries in one.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, so yeah, it'll be interesting. I cannot wait to play it or run it, whatever ends up happening.
Yeah,
it will be on this channel at some point.
Oh, absolutely. And I already have more that I want to talk about. I think I've talked with you. I think we're going to be doing this a little bit more in the coming month or 2 or 3. We're going to be very busy here at the end of this month, but after this month, I would definitely like to do a little bit more of talking about systems that we want to get to table. MCDM, this playtest is definitely one of them. I have a few others too. And I know you have at least one other as well.
Oh, yeah.
2, actually.
For sure.
Know of 2.
Yeah, for sure. There's a few of them, and yeah, we're just going to toss them all up here. And I mean, the 14 tabletop RPG, as soon as that is out, it'll be out in May, but I will probably steal it.
You'll probably have it fully reverse engineered by March, I would say.
Well, here's the thing: at FanFest, JP FanFest, you can play the game. They have DMs for you, so you get a group of 4, and then you get a DM, and they play you through like an encounter. And I'm like, why not at NA? It was too early, I know, but man.
Was it too early, or do they just not value us and our table talk RPGs?
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't translated to English until like September, and it wasn't translated well. I'll tell you that. No. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes, but we'll be talking about it on the Shoot the Shit at some point as well.
Oh, 100%.
Oh, yeah.
All right. With that, my headphone has died, so I'm going to go ahead and I guess we're going to go ahead and sign out for the night because I don't know if you can even hear Charles anymore. I apologize. But I think we got through most of this. Yeah. Charles, thank you so much for doing the outline and doing everything here. Thanks for joining us, everybody, and I hope you have a good night.